presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
Spring is in the air in Port Charlotte, and the boys of summer are getting ready for the 2015 campaign. The Rays begin their quest with a new skipper at the helm, Tampa native Kevin Cash, and with some familiar faces as well, with Evan Longoria leading the charge. Today we get an in-depth look at the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen, and most of the regulars are also in the lineup. Rays spring training action starts now on Sun Sports. It is another gorgeous day for spring training baseball as we welcome you to Charlotte Sports Park in Port Charlotte, Florida, where this afternoon the Tampa Bay Rays take on their AL East rivals, the New York Yankees, 1.5 weeks prior to opening day. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Todd Callis alongside Brian Anderson for the Tampa Bay Rays BA. A lot of questions coming in, some more questions due to injury, and the most recent injury to Nick Franklin has actually solidified things in terms of the middle infield.
Well, yeah, and you knew coming into camp this year with the Rays that the middle infield was going to have a new look to it. Who are the guys going to be? Well, because of that injury, this is the way it's going to shake out, at least initially. As Drupal Cabrera has been named the starting shortstop by manager Kevin Cash, he'll be there. Logan Forsythe, now, because of that injury, will get the bulk of the playing time at second base. And you're very familiar with that position. He had 47 starts last year for the Rays at second. So that's how it's going to look up the middle. Really, the only thing left as far as the middle infield situation goes is who is going to be the backup. And you have a hodgepodge right here. Will it be Tim Beckham, the overall first pick of the Rays back in 2008, when he finally burst on the scene at this point? Jake Elmore, as you can see right there, all 9 defensive positions. He brings tremendous versatility. Or will it be the cagey veteran Alexi Casilla, 9 major league seasons? It'll be a fun horse race here the next week and a half.
That's some of the things we'll be looking for today. It's an all bullpen day for the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Live interviews this afternoon include the manager Kevin Cash, the bench coach Tom Foley, and the Rays hitting coach Derek Shelton. And oh, by the way, the 10th commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, will join us in the booth as well. Coming up next, we'll introduce you to our newest member of the crew, Emily Austin, as she talks with Kevin Kiermaier. New York Yankees, it is my pleasure to welcome in the newest member of our broadcast team for the 2015 season. Here's Emily Austin.
Thanks, Todd. Kevin, spring training game number 21. How do you approach these games?
Well, it's all about getting locked in now. I think the first couple weeks, you kind of get your body physically and mentally ready, and now it's really starting to have make your bats really count. Not like they weren't before, but now it's really about getting locked in and finding everything up at the plate and what you want to do defensively and really getting ready for opening day.
First start to opening day in the major leagues. How settling is it for you to know that you have a role on this team?
Yeah, it's going to be real fun for me. minor leagues throughout my whole career doing that. I get excited for that, but this being in the big leagues is really big for me, and I'm really excited that I'm going to be out there in center field, and just knowing that, that's my position really helps me a lot, and know that I'll be penciled in opening day is really cool for me.
What about the two guys next to you? Have you been able to get a communication going with those guys in spring training?
Yeah, not those guys, but the other guys as well out there. All us outfielders, we have great connection, and like I said, we talk amongst ourselves away from the game and kind of have an idea what we're going to do for the season. So we have great communication right now, and I'm really excited moving here forward with them.
Okay, less than 2 weeks away from opening day. Todd, we're going to send it back up to you.
All right, Emily, we'll check in with Emily throughout the course of the game. She'll be down by the Rays dugout gathering interviews, including the manager, Kevin Cash. And here is the lineup that Joe Girardi will send out here in Port Charlotte. Didi Gregorius, the starting shortstop for the Yankees, will lead things off. Brendan Ryan will play second base. Chris Young bats third. Garrett Jones in the cleanup spot. John Ryan Murphy is the catcher. Rob Refsnyder, the DH today. Slade Heathcott in left. Ramon Flores in right. Cole Figueroa, the former Ray, is the third baseman. 5 lefties in the lineup for the New York Yankees. There is Joe Girardi. Not a lot of regulars down here in Port Charlotte this afternoon, but we will see the new look shortstop, Didi Gregorius, at the top of Joe's lineup, his 8th year as the skipper of the New York Yankees. In the other dugout, Kevin Cash, just a week and a half away from making his debut as the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. He was named skipper on December 5th, 2014. And today is going to be, for Kevin and for Jim Hickey, an entire day of guys out of the bullpen. None of the starters that we'll see potentially during the season are going to be pitching today.
No, this is a true Johnny whole staff, and this is the way that the Rays have it set up, and these guys need to get their work. So I think the longest outing that you'll see today, more than likely, barring something unforeseen, is maybe 2 innings. So you're going to get to see a lot of the Rays bullpen, and they look to finish strong from here on out.
Tampa Bay Rays have played better baseball as the spring has gone along. They've won 9 of their last 13 and now have a record above 500 in the spring as they take on the New York Yankees this afternoon. And one of those guys out of the bullpen who will actually get a rare start today is Jordan Norberto.
Well, and Jordan Norberto, you can see his numbers right there. It'll be his 7th spring training appearance. He has not been in the big leagues since 2012, about halfway through the 2013 season, had Tommy John surgery, missed all of last year, and obviously looking to get back in it. And the Rays have really liked what they have seen so far from Jordan. So he'll go out today, and I think the plan for him is to go out, start this game, and get in a solid 2 innings. Let's take a look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind Jordan Norberto. Across the outfield, left to right, you've got Desmond Jennings, Kevin Kiermaier, and Brandon Guyer. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Asdrubal Cabrera, Logan Forsythe, and James Loney. Kurt Casale will be behind the plate.
So the Rays getting ready with Jordan Norberto. You also see Kevin Jepson, Grant Balfour this afternoon, Ernesto Frieri. Brad Boxberger will pitch. Kirby Yates will get in there as the Rays get ready to kickstart this 2015 season. It has been about as pleasant a month of March as we could ever remember. Almost every day has been in the 80s. It's been a very warm spring, and almost every day has had brilliant sunshine like this. The Rays will have another telecast on Sun Sports Saturday, and that will be a unique day because while this afternoon has no starters going, Saturday we'll have the top 3 starters in rotation all throwing on the same day.
Yeah, very strange. Very rarely do you see that at any point during spring training, let alone when the season is just around the corner. Another week and a half before opening day on April the 6th. But, the Rays, they do everything. There's a plan. There's a plan behind it, and certainly not the way that you would normally see it, but that's what they're going to go with.
Here's Didi Gregorius. There you see what he did last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, coming over to the New York Yankees, and he will be their everyday shortstop. Probably will hit towards the bottom of the lineup once the regular season gets underway. And there's a called strike from Doug Vines on the first pitch from Jordan Norberto.
Well, how about these shoes that he has to fill? Not going to fill them, but Derek Jeter, after his retirement, look at the games, the hits, World Series titles, 5 of them, and Didi Gregorius just getting started.
He had an interesting take on that when he was asked about replacing Derek Jeter. He said if he had switched positions and gone to another position, then I felt like I was taking his spot. But the fact that he is retired from the game, he just feels like he's next in line. He felt like it was a little different attitude that he was approaching this spring, and he has been outstanding this spring. I mean, the reviews on his game from the Yankees camp has been unbelievably positive. There's a good slider to get Gregorius for the first out. Norberto with a strong start to this game.
Well, that's what you can do when you work ahead in the count. You can get a hitter to expand his zone, and you're right, a sweeping slider here by Jordan Norberto, taking it right out of the zone, and Gregorius goes after it.
That would be the one area the Yankees are slightly concerned with, is Gregorius' ability to hit against lefties. He has been working diligently this spring to keep that shoulder in against lefties, as we see Brendan Ryan. Ryan takes a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. Ryan getting a chance to play with Gregorius for the first time today. Stephen Drew would normally be their second baseman, and he's been getting most of the time at second this spring.
Well, you're giving guys opportunities to work together. You know, the way that spring training is, you're going to have a lot of different combinations out there. And you may see that, obviously, during the course of the year, Gregorius being new, try to build that chemistry.
3-1 the count to Brendan Ryan. Just underway at Charlotte Sports Park, Jordan Norberto, who had not pitched in almost 2 seasons now, getting a chance to make a bid for the Rays bullpen, and misses with that one into 1-out walk to Brendan Ryan. Yeah, mentioned the Tommy John surgery. Here's a guy that pitched with Arizona in 2010, then the A's in 11 and 12. And there's what he did his last year with Oakland. He had a very solid year that season. And then in 13, he just felt something that wasn't right in the shoulder, and it ended up with Tommy John surgery in the middle of the summer in 13.
And at least at this point, he's given himself the full amount of time in coming back. I mean, when you have that, I think it was June of 2013, and then miss all of 2014, that's the full 18 months of recovery. This is as strong as he'll ever be. So he's given himself a tremendous opportunity to go out and pitch a full, healthy season.
Swing and a miss by Chris Young at the fastball. It's a 0-2 count to the Yankee center fielder.
Always like that, too, when guys are not afraid to pitch in. Chris Young, we saw last year with the 11 home runs and 38 runs driven in. He likes to get extension. He's got a big swing, and you can tie him up with those fastballs in.
There's a called third strike on a fastball in the inner half. Roberto with a couple of strikeouts and a walk to start the day.
Well, a lot of times a hitter, when you go in on him, he assumes, okay, he came in, probably going to go away this time, and Norberto's able to just lock him up with a tremendous fastball right on that inside corner.
Here's the former Marlin, Garrett Jones. You see his numbers with the Fish last year. When Jones was acquired by the New York Yankees, they thought, here's a guy that could probably DH a number of games if Alex Rodriguez can't handle a full season's load at DH. But from every indication that the Yankees have seen in the spring, Jones' bats might be a little more limited than they originally thought, because Alex Rodriguez has looked very comfortable in his return. And Mark Teixeira, if he stays healthy, Jones would certainly be a backup at that position as well. He's also played some left and right in addition to first base this spring.
That's going to be the key for the Yankees this year, is the health. There's some age on this team. And so when you start to think about Mark Teixeira, you know, the last 3 seasons, he's played 261 games. You're missing a month and a half, 2 months every season at those kind of numbers. So they need some versatility, and they need some options. And Joe Girardi has that with Garrett Jones.
And there's no doubt you can look at Jones and say he could end up with anywhere from 100 to 200 at-bats, or he could end up with 400 to 500 at-bats.
That's absolutely right. And that's why spring training is so important, that you come in with a mindset. And Kevin Kiermaier kind of alluded to it in the interview with Emily Austin, where he said this is the time spring training comes where it's time to lock in, to start to work at-bats and get yourself ready for the season. All the little things, the little adjustments, the tweaks that you've made during the course of camp, now's the time to put them into practice and start to see results.
Jordan Norberto getting the start today. They're hoping to get 2 innings out of him. There'll be a few other relievers that go an inning plus, but Norberto should be the longest in of the day. And there is a swing and a miss and another good slider by Jordan Norberto, who strikes out 3 in the first inning. First inning, the Rays turn in the bottom half. Here's how their lineup will look from Kevin Cash today. David DeJesus will be the DH leading off. Brandon Guyer in right field hitting second. Expect about 3 ABs for these starters. Asdrubal Cabrera will hit third. Evan Longoria hitting in the cleanup spot. James Loney 5. Desmond Jennings, quite a spring so far, hit 6. Kevin Kiermaier 7. Logan Forsythe 8. And Kirk Casale will be the catcher at 9.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the New York Yankees is going to be right-hander Adam Warren, and you can see what he did last year. 69 games. Those are the numbers. An impressive season, almost a strikeout an inning, no starts. And right now, he is in line to become the Yankees' 5th starter if he can close out spring training strong. In fact, Brian Cashman has said he is the predictable favorite for the Yankees' 5th starter. Let's take a look at that New York Yankee defense as it lines up behind Adam Warren. In the outfield, left to right. Heathcott, Young, and Flores across the infield, third to first. Cole Figueroa, familiar face. Gregorius, Brendan Ryan, and Garrett Jones. John Ryan Murphy behind the plate.
So here's David DeJesus. And here he still is in a Rays uniform with the season starting a week from Monday. Some people thought DeJesus at this point of the spring may have been involved in a deal, but he is still in the Rays camp and has about as good an attitude as he can possibly have knowing the situation.
No, and having spent some time around David DeJesus, that's the way he has always been. I mean, this guy walks to the park, leaves whatever's going on, always a smile on his face and that upbeat mood.
I think he could go have root canal and he'd be excited. Like, he gets excited. Everything's great.
You talk about a guy enjoying life and enjoying his situation. I mean, he obviously wants to be on a big league team and get a lot of playing time, but regardless, this is a guy who just has fun in everything that he does.
We mentioned everybody would get 3 at-bats today. DeJesus may only get a couple of at-bats. They want to see Steven Souza get some ABs as well today in that DH role. David behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Coming in as the leadoff hitter today, the Rays have been experimenting with different guys in that leadoff spot, but it seems like Kevin Cash may look to that DH role and John Jaso as a potential leadoff hitter come opening day.
Well, you're starting to think about on-base percentage, and that's the way that you want to start ball games.
Fly ball into right field. Ramon Flores with the first out.
That's not the way you want to start a ball game if you're David DeJesus. However, when you start to think about the Rays' options, John Jaso would not be the prototypical leadoff guy, but he has been over the course of his career a good on-base guy, and right now he may be the favorite for that role.
When you look at the speed on this team, it comes mostly from the outfield in Kevin Kiermaier and in Desmond Jennings. But it appears that Kevin Cash would like to see Desmond in more of an RBI role. And at least at the start of the season, we're going to see Kevin Kiermaier towards the bottom of the lineup. That could change as the season goes along. But that's the way it's sorting out to this point.
Well, the challenge will be to score runs.
Right.
Obviously, the Rays last year, dead last in the American League in runs scored, and not having a tremendous spring right now. But you still have a week and a half to try to settle these issues, and you're going to have to use all of your attributes. You know, you're going to have some speed in the lineup. You're going to have guys steal some bases, take an extra base, maximize your opportunities to score runs.
Brandon Guyer at the plate. He's been dealing with some nagging injuries this spring. Has been limited to 10 at-bats in regular spring games. Did get a full 6 at-bats in a minor league game yesterday. So they're trying to ramp up his number of at-bats, getting ready for opening day. There's a called strike on the inner half, 2-2.
Yeah, you'll see him get some extended playing time here in the next week and a half, trying to get those at-bats. You know, each hitter is different, but a lot of guys, they come in and they've got a set number of at-bats that they would like going into the regular season. And obviously, Brandon Guyer far behind his mark right now.
Guyer fouls it back. It's 2-2. Just underway from Charlotte Sports Park. New York Yankees are in town today. PA mentioned Adam Warren, a strong candidate for the 5th spot in the Yankees rotation. In addition to Cashman saying there was a predictable favorite, he said the lead is similar to Secretariat's in the Belmont. That's how far he separated himself from the other candidates for the 5 spot in the rotation. Esmiel Rogers has struggled at times this spring for the Yankees. There is a check swing, no swing, so they have to make the throw, and they do down the second base. He did go around. That is a strikeout, 2-3 on the putout.
Nasty breaking ball there by Warren. And you're right, he has had a tremendous spring training now, 13 2/3 innings in the book. Look at the depth on that breaking ball. Getting Brandon Guyer to chase it out of the zone. Has not walked a batter yet this spring. When you talk about being sharp, when you can avoid walks as a starting pitcher in spring training, that just shows you how locked in he is.
He has been pounding the zone as Asdrubal Cabrera, the switch hitter, digs in.
You know, a lot of that mindset, too, comes from pitching out of the bullpen.
Right.
You know, when you're coming in out of the pen, you cannot afford to come in and start walking guys. You don't have that many innings to work with to settle into a ball game. Had a tremendous year last year coming out of the pen and has carried that over as a starter this camp.
The thing with him, he's got a lot of pitches. He's not a reliever who just relies on a couple of pitches.
Right.
He's got 4 quality pitches. We saw the slider, the 4-seam fastball, the changeup, and the curve. He actually also mixes in a 2-seamer at times. So
And he sets up very well as a starting pitcher because of the repertoire, and also when you look at his splits. Last year he held left-handed hitters to a 178 average.
Yep.
So when you're able to hold down lefties, as he did, and obviously with that slider to Guyer, you know, he can have a lot of success against righties. That sets you up to be a starter because you're going to face, you know, obviously lefties and righties throughout the lineup. And when you can have equal success between the two with those 4 pitches, that gives you a chance, and he's made the most of it.
Well, a spot opened up in the Yankees rotation, the 5 slot, when Chris Capuano got injured. He had a strained right quad that happened back on the 11th of March. They're hoping to have him back sometime around May 1st, but Warren was in a 4-player battle for that 5th spot. He has earned it. On a 3-1 pitch, Warren makes a nice grab on a comebacker to retire Cabrera to end the inning. We'll be joined by the commissioner of baseball in that second inning. It's 0-0. Sports Park. Yankees and Rays scoreless as we head to the second inning. Opening day just 11 days away. Join us on Monday, April 6th when the Rays take on the Baltimore Orioles. Get your tickets now to experience all the fun and excitement of opening day. Visit RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Yankees batting in the top half of the second inning. John Ryan Murphy will lead things off for New York. Speaking of opening day, Kevin Cash just a little more than an hour ago made it official as to who the Rays opening day starter would be.
He did.
He did.
That would be right-hander Chris Archer.
How about that?
I made that same announcement last week. Now, nobody attended my press conference when I named him the opening day starter, but it was made official today.
So after Alex Cobb was injured, you had a press conference?
I did. It was very small, not well attended.
Maybe your two children?
One of them.
One of them
acted interested.
Well, he was the obvious choice, but the Rays were still kind of making sure everything was in place. They wanted to talk to Chris about it. He's excited. We're going to hear Chris discuss the situation with Emily Austin about being named the opening day starter a little bit later on in the broadcast.
It's just a tremendous honor to have that. I know Alex Cobb, obviously.
Kiermaier got a pretty good jump on that ball.
Yes, he did. But Chris Archer, obviously unfortunate for Alex Cobb because he was in line to have that start. But when he's not going to be able to make it, Chris Archer last year, 10-9, 3.33. But those numbers really don't do him justice when you think about how dominant he can be. And he is a true student of the game, always looking to get better. He has wipeout stuff. And, this may be a big year for Chris Archer to really go out there and just explode onto the scene. He's going to get an opportunity to make those 30-plus starts. Would love to get over 200 innings. And he's perfectly capable of doing that.
The stat that Jim Hickey loves from last season is the starts allowing 0 or 1 run. That was at the top of the chain of anybody in the American League.
Absolutely. And that speaks to his stuff being dominant. You think about the fastball, the way that he really reaches towards home plate, that ball just explodes on hitters. And then you start to think about the breaking ball, the slider that has tremendous depth, and a changeup that has been improving. And then he's trying to find more ways to incorporate that into his game plan.
Designated hitter for the Yankees, Rob Refsnyder, is at the plate here with 1 out. And nobody on for the Yankees in the second inning. The thing about Archer, and he is maturing every year, you see changes in him. Opening day is a whole different animal. You stop, you start, there's different presentations. He's a guy that gets amped up normally. So for me, the key for him opening day is to be able to treat game one like game 101, and that's easier said than done sometimes.
Absolutely. With the hoopla around opening day, you're right. It can take you out of your routine, your game plan. That will be the key for him, the routine. Keep with the routine and don't let the moment get too big. At the end of the day, it's another start. You'll let the bands play and the children march, but after that, you got to get out there and pitch, and I'm sure that that he'll be just fine, but that will be interesting to watch early in that game.
Full count pitch misses away to Refsnyder, and he draws a 1-out walk. So Norberto so far has struck out 3 and walked 2. And with his pitch count starting to climb a little bit, the Rays will have action in their bullpen. We mentioned it's an all bullpen day. And Grant Balfour will be the next one in line to pitch for the Rays as Slade Heathcott digs in for the New York Yankees. Called strike, 0-1. Norberto, we mentioned, will feature that 4-seam fastball, slider, a changeup, an occasional 2-seamer. Against lefties, though, you never see the change. It's all fastball, slider, and occasional 2-seamer.
Well, over the course of his career, has fared better against right-handed hitters. You would not figure that. That's where that changeup will come into play. We've seen him use the fastball to both sides of the plate. We've seen some very good sliders. He keeps the ball in the zone. He's got a chance to put some people down.
I think the anticipation, and we're not sure who's going to break camp opening day, the anticipation is you will see Norberto pitching for the Rays at some point in 2015. He's been that good. He's a lefty. He's been in the big leagues before. And the whole question was how he would come back from Tommy John surgery, and he has looked good this spring. There's a ball rocketed into left center field. And that will go all the way to the wall. Refsnyder rounding third. He's going to be waved home. They can't handle the relay throw cleanly, and the Yankees take a 1-0 lead on the RBI double by Slade Heathcott.
Well, that was a really nice job by Slade Heathcott in pulling his hands in, staying inside of that baseball, and driving it with authority the other way into left center field. See, they want that ball down and away. It ends up middle of the plate up. He's able to get on top of it, stay inside it, and drive it.
Refsnyder, the DH, normally a second baseman. Formerly an outfielder in college, coming around from first to score. And now called strike to Ramon Flores.
Now, you may see that combination of Gregorius and Refsnyder in the not-too-distant future. Shortstop, second base for the New York Yankees.
They have a couple of interesting second base prospects, and Refsnyder has had a really good spring for them. They're hoping that Stephen Drew can find his form after a tough 2014 season. He's going to be the second baseman to start the season, but they do have some options with Perella and Refsnyder in the minor leagues.
You just wonder, last year with Stephen Drew being a late sign,
right?
You know, sat out, missed spring training, didn't sign until into the season, and just has not been able to get on track since then.
You're right. I mean, that's, you talk about ramping up in spring training, where we're discussing with Kiermaier.
Right.
There was no ramping up.
No, and it's really tough to go cold and try to ramp up in the middle of a major league season.
You can see the ball is carrying to left. That was a shallow fly ball that ended up moving Desmond Jennings back a step or two. The wind is really howling to left, so right-hand hitters could be feasting at some point this afternoon.
Number 62, third baseman.
Keep the ball down. Keep it down. Or up above the zone. And we saw that that's a pitch that the Rays staff is very fond of, the elevated fastball.
Here's Cole Figueroa, familiar face to Rays fans. You see Cole's numbers with the Rays in 2014. Those 6 RBIs included a walk-off RBI at Tropicana Field. Made 10 starts for the Rays at second, started a game at DH, and the rest of the games, 23 in total, came off the bench for Joe Madden in 14. Norberto ahead of Cole Figueroa, 0-2. In the dirt, 2-2. We mentioned Norberto against lefties in his last full season. Didn't throw any changeups lefty on lefty. But Kirk Casale's a fan of righty on righty, lefty on lefty changeups. We saw him with Nathan Carnes in our last telecast get 3 big outs with the bases loaded and no outs on changeups righty on righty.
Really have never understood that mindset in the game of baseball. If it's a good pitch for you, use it.
Another strikeout for Norberto, his 4th of the game. We will be joined by the Commissioner of Baseball, the 10th, Rob Manfred. Charlotte Sports Park in Port Charlotte, Florida, and it is our privilege and honor to be joined by the 10th Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred. thank you very much for joining us.
Glad to be here. Really glad to be here.
What brings you here? Obviously, the players and the coaching staff excited that you're here. And what brings you here?
Well, I've tried to get out and see as many teams as I can during spring training, talk to the players a little bit about some of the issues that are facing the game, and just give them a chance to see me and get to know a little bit about who I am.
And that has been the message to these teams. I mean, getting out to see all of them and kind of, collective bargaining coming up in 2016. You're going to be on the front lines of that, obviously. And, so that's what you've just come out and say hey to the Rays.
Well, I think that you make a great point about bargaining. I'd like the players to have a chance to see me before we get into all that. And, just get a feel for what I think about the game and make them more comfortable.
Well, I know there was a lot of players that had questions for you, and in addition to speaking to the players, I thought it was interesting that you had a little Q&A session. A lot of the Rays players had some questions for you, huh?
Yes, it has varied team to team. Some teams have a lot of questions. I will say to you, the Rays were probably the most active group I've had so far.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
Well, that's good. It's great to have that dialogue this spring, and we are honored that you joined us up here in the booth. We're in the bottom half of the second inning, and I assume one of those questions came from the guy at the plate, Evan Longoria, as he drives one deep to left field. The wind is blowing out that way, and that ball is gone. Longoria with a home run to tie this game at 1 for Evan, his second home run of the spring.
I did get a question from Evan, actually, a couple of questions, so it was good. I think when one of the leaders on the team sets the tone, you tend to get a lot of conversation.
So how has the transition been into, obviously, the new role, the commissioner's role? You worked alongside your predecessor, Bud Selig, for 20 years, and now move into that role. Has it been as seamless as it's appeared?
We've had a really successful transition, a lot of it due to the fact that right after the election, before I was official, Commissioner Selig made it clear to me that I could start making changes, that he'd worked with me on those changes. So it really gave me a running start to the official date, and I owe him a debt on that one.
And I'm sure that as you move into the commissioner's role, there's a laundry list of initiatives and issues that you would like to see made in the game, changed in the game. What's the first thing that pops into mind?
The single biggest push that we're trying to make relates to young people in the game. Two different aspects of it. We're very focused on increasing youth participation in the game. I think it's important for talent flow, making sure we continue to get the greatest athletes in the world. But it's also the single biggest determinant of fan avidity. If you play as a kid, you're likely to be a big fan, and that's important to us. So young people is a real focus.
As a kid growing up in Rome, New York, upstate New York, is that Yankees territory?
We prefer to think of it as beautiful Rome, New York. But yeah, it is generally Yankees territory, and but it is in that part of upstate New York where the split tends to be Yankee Red Sox, interestingly, as opposed to Yankee Mets.
So it makes for some lively discussions.
It does. It does.
When you look, and we saw the clock in between innings, when you look out there into left center field, there's a new piece of equipment that you don't see at baseball stadiums, at least prior to 2015. And the Rays fans can attest to the fact that last year the teams played the longest games of anybody in baseball despite scoring the fewest runs. Tell us about what your thoughts are with the pace of play and how you'd like to see things evolve this year.
Well, first of all, I see the pace of play initiative as being responsive to what we're hearing from our fans. We did a lot of research, a lot of focus groups, and it was a topic of concern to our fans, and not surprisingly, given the pace of our society. So we are trying to be responsive, and really our focus is to not interfere with the play of the game on the field at all. We want the players to continue to perform the way they do, but to take out some of the needless delays.
Here's the ball hit pretty well to right. If the wind was blowing out to right today, that could have been a home run. Instead, it goes for a fly out for out number 1.
Early returns. early returns through the first 20-some-odd games of spring training?
Well, obviously you have to be a little careful with spring training games because they're so different. But we have a lot of people from the commissioner's office out watching games. People seem generally pleased with the way that the game is moving along, crisp. The games have been a little shorter compared to spring games last year. Probably the best news, however, is being around and in the clubhouses. Managers, field staff, and especially players seem cooperative on the issue.
That was going to be the next question. Are the players responding? You would expect a little bit of a rebuff from them, but like you said, does it seem to be something that they are going to be okay with?
Well, when you're a labor relations guy by training, one of the things you learn is participation's important. We had Tony Clark involved with us early on the pace of play committee. We then had extensive bargaining with the Players Association about the changes, and obviously when you work with the union in that way, you tend to get better cooperation.
A lot of Rays fans are interested in what could happen with a new stadium. We know the attendance at Tropicana Field, especially with regards to how well the Rays have played, has not matched up. Your thoughts on the Rays and a new stadium?
Well, I think the single most heartening fact, if you're a Rays fan, is how committed Stu Sternberg is to making it work in Tampa. He's been very public about it, and equally strong with me privately. He wants to make it work in Tampa. He thinks it can work in Tampa. Obviously, we're going to need some help from the community. We're going to need help in terms of fans support, sponsorship, and from the local government in terms of getting a major league quality facility built in this market.
Rays fans are excited to hear that. Whether it's on the St. Pete side or the Tampa side, something needs to change, it appears. There's just no correlation between the team's winning percentage and the attendance.
Right. I mean, sometimes when you get into a stadium situation where, you're talking about a new facility, you have the excuse that the team hasn't performed well on the field. We just don't have that excuse here in Tampa. I mean, Matt Silverman, Stu, the entire group at the Rays, Andrew before he left, did a fantastic job of not only making the team competitive, but keeping it competitive. And you just don't have that to fall back on here.
It's been a remarkable run. 4 playoff appearances in 7 years, 5 90-win seasons. You mentioned Andrew. He just made some news by signing a couple of players, Hector Oliveira and Pablo Milan Fernandez. And in the past with the Rays, those are guys he probably never would have had a shot at. Your thoughts about now that the relations between U.S. and Cuba are opening up, about the possibility of an international draft at some point?
Well, I've always believed that it was important to have a single method of entry into the game. And by that I mean a draft-type system. I'm not talking about the details of one draft versus 2 or any of that, but just that players get drafted. And I think it's important just in terms of maintaining the competitive balance in the game. Teams like Tampa have to have definite access to talent, and when they're not playing well on a preferential basis in order to be competitive. And I think expanding the international draft will help keep the great competitive balance that we've seen in the game in recent years.
Before you go, I love the new baseball this year. The signature looks great. How long did it take you to perfect that?
Well, I've told this story. It's actually funny. The day after the election, they show up in your office with these index cards, and the licensing folks that work with Rawlings, it's like you're in a Catholic grammar school. They grade your handwriting until it's acceptable, and I had to work a little bit at it. Now I feel like I have to sign my name that it looks like that all the time. So.
Pretty cool. And you get to throw out the first pitch opening day, right?
I'm anxious to do that. I'm going to be in Washington for opening day. It's going to be an exciting day for me, but more importantly, it's an exciting day for Major League Baseball.
Logan Forsythe, the hitter, with 2 outs. Kevin Kiermaier with a hustle double. We've seen that play a few times over his career as the Rays have tied this game at 1 apiece. Attaching the importance of the youth getting interested in the game and what you mentioned, the pace of play, seem to go hand in hand, too.
I agree with that. I think that pace of play is particularly important to the youth initiative. I also think technology is a big part of it. We need to use the technology that's available to us to help young people engage with the game more deeply. Not distract them from the game, but engage more deeply.
Couldn't agree with you more, Commissioner. Thank you so much for joining us.
Really a pleasure. Nice to see you.
Appreciate it.
Really good to see you.
We'll have more baseball. The Rays, the Yankees tied at 1 at the end of 2. Longoria tying the game up with his second home run of the spring, a shot to left center field. As we head to the third with the new pitcher for the Rays, we mentioned it was going to be an all bullpen day. Here's Grant Balfour in his second outing of the spring.
65 games last year, 62 and a third innings of work, and Grant Balfour very determined to turn those numbers around and bounce back. As you can see what he was able to do 2012, 2013. Look at the saves, 62 out of 67. That ERA in the mid-2s. And last year just a little bump in the road. And like I said, Grant Balfour determined to get back to those 2012, 2013 numbers.
It's been an emotional and difficult spring at times for Grant. He was in Australia for the beginning of March, dealing with his father, who passed away from pancreatic cancer. David Balfour, a very important figure in Australian baseball and obviously in Grant's life. And so he missed about half of spring training, but he feels like today being his second outing and hopefully getting up to about 5 before the season starts, that he will be fine come opening day. Didi Gregorius will lead things off for the New York Yankees here in the third.
Well, he's a veteran pitcher. He knows what his body needs, what his mind needs. You can just assume that, you know, the time that he spent in Australia, there was probably not a lot of thinking about baseball going on with what was going on in his personal life. And now to make that transition back to the States and back up on the mound, not easy.
Well, he said just a couple of years ago he was coming back from knee surgery with the Oakland A's, 2013, and he only appeared in 4 games that spring for them. Started the season on the opening day roster, ended up in the All-Star game, so that worked out pretty well in a limited spring just a couple of seasons ago.
So there's a track record. That's always nice.
Didi Gregorius with a count of 1-2. He was one of 4 strikeout victims for Jordan Alberto. Alberto allowed a 1-out RBI double to Slade Heathcott. Other than that, he struck out 4, and he walked a couple. Swing and a miss, the ball in the dirt. Casale makes the throw down to first, and Gregorius is a strikeout victim of the first batter faced by Grant Balfour.
You know, I think that was something that hurt Grant a little bit last year. You know, you saw on that graphic the walk numbers were elevated, and he was just a little bit too fastball heavy. And when he's able to work ahead with the fastball, which is fine, it then allows him to get to those secondary pitches, and he put Gregorius away with a nice one there.
Good to hear from the commissioner, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's great what he's doing, going out and talking to the teams. I think that is just, you know, just a very smart and savvy move on his part to take questions from them. So there's familiarity. You know, before you go into collective bargaining and just say, hey, listen, I'm a partner in this. I want to grow this game just like you do, and this is who I am and what I'm about. I think that's fantastic.
And it's certainly important to him, and I think it resonates. The Rays clubhouse loved the fact that not only did he talk to them, but that he opened it up for questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, listen, again, it's a smart move, and guys appreciate that. They feel like they're part of the process. They feel important that this commissioner would come out, speak, and not just speak and leave, but open it up. What do you want to ask me? Anything.
How about the fact that he said of all the teams, the Rays had more questions than anybody? That's kind of cool.
That is impressive.
You wouldn't think a young team would be on top of the topics, but apparently they are. And good for them. There you see the guys that were part of that clubhouse meeting this afternoon. The commissioner visiting all the spring training camps. He told you where he's heading down to Bradenton next. Was that his next stop, or Minnesota? He's going to be on this coast for a little while.
Minnesota and Pittsburgh.
There you go. So
He's been a busy man.
Oh, man. I mean, good for him. Good for him to get in front of every major league player prior to the season and answer whatever questions there may be. 2-2 the count to Brendan Ryan. Backs off a pitch that's just inside, and the count is full.
I just think that it's ironic that the Major League Baseball commissioner is going to need the season to start before he can get some downtime.
Right. That's true. He came to baseball the same year the Rays became a franchise, 1998. Here's a fly ball into shallow center field. Kevin Kiermaier makes the play for out number 2. We were talking to the commissioner. We saw Kiermaier with that hustle double. It's so refreshing. It almost feels like we're back to the regular season when you see a Kiermaier hustle play like that, because he does it better than anybody else in the game, I think.
No doubt about it, and that's got to be something that is in these scouting reports. I mean, Kevin Kiermaier, if you go to sleep on him on a line drive to the outfield, a ground ball in the hole, he is coming out of the box hot, looking to go to second base every time he makes contact with the baseball in fair territory. And if you don't stop him, that's exactly what he's going to do.
And I think it'll be fun to see him in center field every day this year, too.
Yes.
That'll be a change. Desmond Jennings was very agreeable to the deal, and Desmond will still play some center when Kevin gets the day off, especially against some tough lefties. You may see Desmond shift to center and Brandon Guyer play left, but Kevin loves center field, and we saw that as a rookie who didn't play a full season, he was still one of the top candidates for a Gold Glove Award in limited playing time.
And I think that the more that he's out there, at the big league level, continuing to work on jumps and routes, we know that he's got the speed and the effort level you're never going to question with Kevin Kiermaier. He's just going to continue to get better and better. And between Desmond in left and Kiermaier in center, you're going to lock down a lot of that outfield.
Alford looking for a 1-2-3 inning. That pitch in the dirt, 2-2 to Chris Young. Chris Young will be a main contributor off the bench for the Yankees, along with Garrett Jones, right-handed hitting outfielder. Yankees are hoping that they will have a healthy outfield come opening day. Jacoby Ellsbury has been bothered by an oblique injury that's kept him out of the lineup for the last week or two.
And those are the injuries that you have to be, one of the injuries you have to be very careful back. There's no nursing 80%, 85% oblique and playing through it.
Right.
You've got to get that back to 100% health, or it's going to be troublesome.
Fly ball into left center. Kiermaier will take control, and Grant Balfour has a 1-2-3 third inning. So we're tied at 1 as we head to the bottom half of the third.
Charlotte Sports Park. I'm here with the opening day pitcher. The Yankees and the Rays are all knotted up at 1, heading into the bottom of the third. Chris Archer named the opening day pitcher. What was your initial reaction?
Well, initially a little bummed because it's kind of by default because Cobb is injured, and we have several injuries, so I'm bummed about all of that, but I'm happy that I've taken care of myself over the course of the offseason, and that the team feels comfortable enough to rely on me to pitch on April 6th.
How has the pitching staff's response been to all of these injuries that you guys have been faced with here recently?
There's been nothing serious, so we're encouraged that by the 3rd or 4th week in April, everybody will be fully ready to go, and we'll be clicking on all cylinders because pitching's very vital to our success. So we're a little bummed, but you have to see the best in it. We have to be optimistic about it, and that's how we choose to look at it.
Chris, yes, it is just another start, but it is also opening day. How do you not get caught up in the hype and keep that same routine heading into opening day?
Well, I prepared myself the entire offseason for the big moments. I didn't have any specific ones in mind, but opening day is a big moment. But at the end of the day, it's 60 feet 6 inches, and we're going to be playing against the Baltimore Orioles just like we would be in September, August, every other month of the season. It's baseball, and I'm trying to just make sure foul. It's out. It's way out.
I know. I got to make sure we don't get us hit over here.
Yeah.
What kind of pitches and stuff have you been working on this off season?
Mainly just refining my changeup and sharpening everything else, because I had a good season last year, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and I'm looking to go out there in 2015 and show that.
What are you most proud of from last season when you look back at your progress?
Making every start. I wouldn't be in this position if I didn't make every start, if I wasn't healthy. So that's the number one thing I take pride in. I try to eat well, I try to exercise accordingly, and I try to get as much rest as I possibly can.
Who do you reach out to for advice with those kind of things to make sure that you're ready and staying injury-free?
David Price. I asked him what it takes to be a 220-plus inning guy, and he told me that you have to pace yourself in the off-season with your throwing, and you have to pace yourself in spring training with your throwing. I knew I was going to be on the team. I didn't know what slot I was going to pitch in, but I knew I had a spot on the team, so I don't have to go out there and try to blow it out or try to overly impress anybody, because we already know what I'm capable of. Just be ready for April, and don't try to, be too nasty or be too prepared in March.
Excited about the season overall?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We are battling injuries, but we have a level of excitement that we haven't had in a few years with KK, Souza, Brandon Kyer, and Longo's power potential, and everybody else 1 through 9 in our lineup. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, Todd, for Emily Austin, myself, and your opening day pitcher, Chris Archer, congratulations. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, and make sure everybody brings their stripes out on April 6th.
All right, bring your stripes. Todd, you got the stripes?
We've got them. It's important. Everybody showing their support for Chris Archer wearing stripes on opening day. Archer is, and he mentioned talking to David Price, he's a guy that really was proud of making every start, and rightfully so. And now his next goal is to get to 200 innings. And there's no better way to get to 200 innings than pitch that first game.
Right. Give yourself the best chance of anybody on the staff. I thought that he said a lot of things that were interesting as far as the staff staying upbeat despite the injuries. You think about coming into this spring training, the Rays' top 6 pitchers, arguably, 4 of them down right now.
Right.
And that's not easy for a team that is built to win on pitching, run prevention, defense. Although they still do lead spring training all of Major League Baseball, the lowest team ERA, the only team under 3. So guys have stepped up and gotten the job done. But
Kurt Casale taking a called third strike. Adam Warren picking up his 3rd strikeout of the game. Here's what the top 3 look like to start the year. These guys will pitch in that first series against the Baltimore Orioles. We know Archer's 1. They have not named how the order will be 2 and 3 beyond him.
No, but, Chris Archer, you know what he's capable of. We've seen Jake Odorizzi, very good. I think he came into spring training more prepared than in years past, put on a little bit of weight to get a little bit stronger to go for that 200-inning threshold. And then what can you say about Nathan Carnes in the spring that he's put together?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, beyond that, after that series with Baltimore, you then go down to Miami to take on the Marlins, but there's a day off in between. So you can kind of work through that first round of the rotation with only 4 guys if you want. You can go with your 4 starter to lead off the series against the Marlins. And here's some of the guys that are in line to be the 4th or 5th starter for the Rays. And these are guys coming into spring that were definitely long shots.
Right. But I think Matt Andriese, particularly, especially with his work that he did yesterday, tremendous outing. You see his spring training numbers. He's probably the guy right now that has put himself in the lead. We'll have to see. But certainly in the course of a season, you need help. You're not going to start with your 5 guys, and that's going to be the way it works all year long. You're going to need other contributions, and those are some guys that are looking to be able to do that.
0-2 the count to David DeJesus as he battles at the plate. One of the things I liked what Archer said, and it's obvious, but it's also important, is that it's not like Drew Smyly or Alex Cobb are dealing with injuries where we're not going to see them until the All-Star break. These are guys you're going to see, as he said, hopefully by the 3rd or 4th week of April. So with the season starting later on April 6th, you're basically looking at a 2.5 week stretch. We just have to make sure the pieces are in place until some of your stars are back healthy.
Hold serve.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you need to hold serve. You can use off days to manipulate the rotation, to not have to go to that 5th starter if you want to, until further out into April. And maybe they just end up missing a couple of starts each. That would be ideal.
DeJesus drops the foul, keeps the count 0-2. And there will be some interesting moments for Jim Hickey and for Kevin Cash in those first couple of weeks when they are mixing and matching those spots. You're also, in addition to the craziness of having an unsettled rotation, you're also pitching, as Kevin Jepsen will be the next for the Rays out of the bullpen. You're also pitching in a National League park, games 4, 5, and 6. So then you have guys who may be making one of their first starts of their career for the Rays, and by the way, got a hit too, which is always a little unusual for American League pitchers.
But they love it.
Right.
They love it.
David battled down to the count 0-2, but he hits the ball on the ground to second for the second out of the inning. Brendan Ryan makes the play.
And what you're hoping for is that they're not swinging the bat anyway. Go up there, lay the bunt down, move the runner over to 3rd or up to 2nd, get him into scoring position. But certainly Kevin Cash and being named the Rays manager, you think about 2 years as a bullpen coach with the Cleveland Indians, 1 year as an advanced scout with Toronto, and now a manager, and he's had to deal, with some unforeseen circumstances here the first month of spring training.
And I mentioned Smyly and I mentioned Cobb, and there's also Alex Colomé, and he may be ready as early or earlier as those guys. So then you have 3 potential additions to your staff at the end of April. And what the Rays look like on April 6th will certainly not be what the Rays staff looks like on May 1st. And that's, like you said, something the Rays are going to have to handle for those first few weeks and hope some of those guys getting an opportunity can hold serve. 1-1 game this afternoon, 2 outs, nobody on, and Brandon Guyer at the plate against Adam Warren. Warren so far has allowed the home run to Evan Longoria, a hustle double by Kevin Kiermaier, and that's it. He continues to have a walk-free spring as he is now 15 2/3 innings in without allowing a walk. He has struck out 2 this afternoon. Check that 3. He got Casale to start the inning.
That sequence right there was not a very good example of pace of play.
No, it wasn't.
Waiting with anticipation, get that ball thrown.
There's a ball sent into right center field for a base hit. It splits the outfield between Chris Young and Ramon Flores, and that'll allow Brandon Guyer to get into second base with his second hit of the spring. Again, limited at bats for Guyer, so good to see him with an opposite field double.
Yeah, that was a nice job by Brandon Guyer. You're going to see this ball down and away from him, and he's able to go out and get it. That was not a bad pitch by Adam Warren, about knee-high on the outside corner. Better job of hitting by Brandon Guyer and getting that 2-out double. Oh, you can have plate coverage like that. You give yourself a chance even when you fall behind in the count.
His at-bats last year got better as the season went along. And the Rays are hoping that with health, that'll carry over to 2015. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, just named starting shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays to start the season earlier in the week. And for a veteran who was a shortstop, went to the Washington Nationals and became the second baseman, I think he's thrilled to get back to playing shortstop on a regular basis. He really loves Kevin Cash, one of the reasons why he joined the Rays in the offseason from their days together in Cleveland. And we'll see how he does in that 3 spot. He should, in theory, get some good pitches to see in front of Evan Longoria in the lineup. Still looking to lock down that swing this spring where he's hitting just over $150, but you can see this is a guy who has put up numbers at the plate over the years. Well,
you see the numbers, but you also see in 2011 he won a Silver Slugger's, been to the All-Star game a couple of times. You know, this is a guy that the Rays, you know, obviously he was their big free agent signing, and they're going to lean on him heavily, playing one of the most important positions on the field at shortstop, and then holding up his end in the lineup.
And you're going to see plays made by the Yankee shortstop this year, Didi Gregorius, that are going to be super flashy, off the charts. I don't think Kevin Cash is expecting or even looking for that. He's looking for Asdrubal Cabrera to make the everyday routine play.
And that's precisely the reason that he won the job. I mean, you can count on him to make that play. Occasionally, he's going to surprise you and make a spectacular play. But make the routine play. And the one thing with the amount of information in the game now and the shifting and moving guys, it's going to be important to place him correctly. You know, have him over in the hole, maybe shading more up the middle, because you've got a pitching staff, remember, that you can trust. You can trust the pitching staff to make the pitches that they need to. If you do that, you have your fielders in the right spot, they're going to make the routine plays.
Ball 4 to Cabrera. There's the first walk issued this spring by Adam Warren. Put runners on first and second with 2 outs. How about the first AB for Evan Longoria against Warren?
Hanging breaking ball, and he deposits it left center field. Loud contact. That was a bullet. I'd like to see him do it again right here.
Trying to give the Rays the lead. Evan hit a 1-1 pitch his first time up for that second home run of the spring. 7 RBIs, leads the team. Chance to pick up an RBI here into center field. Chris Young back, makes the backhanded play on the run nicely, and that'll do it for the Rays in the third. So a couple left aboard. We're going to hear from the manager of the Rays with Emily Austin, Kevin Cash, next inning.
Sports Park. It is 1-1 Rays and the Yankees taking on a spring training game number 21 here with Rays manager Kevin Cash. Funny enough that we actually went to the same high school, Gaither Cowboy alum.
Yeah, pretty special place. You're just a couple years younger than I am. So
just a few.
Right.
Don't call yourself out if I'm not going to call you out. Okay, let's talk about opening day starter. You named Chris Archer. Why do you think he's ready for that?
Well, it went to Cobb initially and then with the injury, but we're thrilled to have Arch in that spot, and I think he's earned it also. The way he went about his off-season program is the way he performed last year. He carries himself really well. We're excited to see what he does that day.
You never want to see any of these guys go down, but with injuries, how has it helped you in spring training to learn how to, rely on other guys and dig deeper in the lineup?
Yeah, we've all learned a lot real quick, and we will learn a lot about our guys come opening day. But Matt and the front office have done a tremendous job of, assembling a group here that we have some good options to choose from.
Asdrubal Cabrera at shortstop, why did you choose him to take on that role?
Well, there was a lot of discussion, but we knew coming in that Cabby, being the veteran, and we want the guy that's going to catch the ball. He is the most sure-handed person that we probably have, or option, should I say, and Cabby's had a really good spring. He came into camp in good shape, so we're excited where he's at.
Evan Longoria, the guy who tied up this game in the bottom of the second, how has he been a leader for these guys in the locker room early here in spring training?
He's been great. His presence alone and just the way he goes about his business on a daily basis, watching from afar for the last couple of years, and then now getting to see it firsthand myself, it's pretty impressive.
Bullpen day here at Charlotte Sports Park. What are your thoughts on the bullpen?
I'm excited about it. Again, Matt and that group, they brought in some guys. I'm excited about the guys we have coming back with Box and Grant Balfour. But then, when Jake comes back, we're going to be that much better.
Okay, Kevin Cash, thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Emily.
Todd, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, Emily, there's a ground ball right down the line that James Loney handles for the first out of the inning, retiring Garrett Jones. Kevin Jepsen is on as the new pitcher for the Rays here in the fourth. Third reliever used by Tampa Bay in this game.
74 games last year with the Angels. That's the only organization that Kevin Jepsen has known was the Angels before coming over here to the Rays, and he obviously figures to be a prominent member of that Rays bullpen. And I'll tell you something, you get Ernesto Frieri back to what he's capable of from just a couple of years ago. Kevin Jepsen, Boxberger, Balfour bounce back, McGee coming back from injury. You got a chance to have a special bullpen, and I think that's exactly why Kevin Cash is so excited about it.
No doubt. I think this bullpen has the chance to be the strength of the team. The starting rotation you knew would be strong, and right now dealing with injuries at the beginning of the season. But the bullpen has a chance to be really good in 2015. And between these two teams, the Yankees and the Rays, maybe the biggest additions both of these teams made were in their bullpens, respectively.
Isn't that the name of the game? That's kind of what the game is trending towards, is the strong shutdown bullpen that can shorten games. We saw the Kansas City Royals run that program right to the World Series. They were able to, if they had a lead, they played a 6-inning game. If they had a lead, then it was Herrera, it was Davis, it was Holland, and the game was over. And that's what teams are looking to do now. Not only does it allow their starters, you don't have to count on these guys going 7+ innings every single night. If you can give me 5 2/3 strong, 6 strong, I can bridge it from there.
Great point about the Royals as the count's 2-1 on John Ryan Murphy, because you're right, that was a 6-inning game, and that's what teams are striving for. I think when you see some of the power arms in the Yankees bullpen and some of the arms that Jim Hickey and the Rays have to work with this year, you are trying to shorten that game. And if Frieri and Balfour can pitch anywhere close to what they've done in their careers at their best, you're looking at 4 guys that can shorten up a game. And that's even before Jake McGee comes back from his injury, which they're hoping is only going to keep him out a few weeks.
And how good has Jim Hickey and the Rays in general been at getting bounce-back seasons from pitchers? Some guys that they've brought in the past, and all of a sudden, boom, got them right back to where they were. Ernesto Frieri that you're talking about, 60 out of 67 in saves in 2012 and 2013. That was not that long ago.
No, and we'll see him later on today. I was impressed that one of the first things he said was, I'm looking forward to Jim Hickey fixing me. Some guys have tough seasons and they figure, well, I'll figure it out, or I've got to. He wants to go to Hickey and learn like Jim has Or, resurrected other careers. Hickey sometimes doesn't like hearing that, but the track record's there.
You're right. Yeah. Absolutely. The turnarounds speak for themselves.
Rafael Soriano, Joaquin Benoit, Fernando Rodney, Kyle Farnsworth. A lot of guys that were coming off of subpar seasons turned around and left the Rays and ended up making a lot of money for themselves.
Yeah, right. And the turnaround, some of them have been dramatic. I mean, think about Fernando Rodney, a season for the ages as far as ERA goes. And Jim Hickey just has that ability to be able to relate to every pitcher on his staff, and that's not easy to do. You figure half of your team are, they're pitchers, and you've got to be able to relate to each one of them, to be able to challenge them, help them, work with them, build relationships. That's what it's all about. He's tremendous at doing it.
Kevin Jepsen in his first inning of work, he was initially labeled as the starter for this game, but then the Rays talked about it and thought, well, he is going to be completely out of his comfort zone. And here's a guy who has only pitched out of the bullpen every season since 2005. So we're talking 10 years ago since this guy started a game. And the more Kevin Cash and Jim Hickey thought about it, they're like, let's just let this guy come out of the bullpen like he's used to.
Maybe early in spring, if this need arose, you may let him start. But you're right. As you start to close it down here towards the end, just a few opportunities to have appearances left. You want to get your guys comfortable and ready to go.
Rob Refsnyder at the plate, walked and scored the Yankees' run in the second. Came around on a Slade Heathcott double. Heathcott is on deck. 2-2 the count to Refsnyder. Called third strike. And strikeout number 6 for Rays pitchers, first for Jepsen.
Execution was flawless on this breaking ball by Jepsen. Just a buckler right there. Drops it to the bottom of the zone on the outer half.
That's a nice pitch to see from the center field camera.
So much hand speed out in front. That's what those breaking balls are all about, whether it's the slider, the curveball, that good hand speed, really spinning that ball, increasing the break, increasing the depth.
Analytics have become such a big part of the game, and certainly the Rays are at the forefront of those studies. But Kevin Jepsen said he learned a little bit by looking at his numbers. Actually, with the son of Terry Francona, who works for the Angels, Nick, just looking at the numbers of strike one versus ball one, which seems to be common sense. But then he looked at, well, what happens if I throw a first pitch strike? How many times are guys getting hits off of it? And he was stunned to find out that very few. And that just empowered him even more to throw that first pitch on the plate if he can. I mean, getting ahead of hitters is what every pitcher strives for, but for him, looking at those breakdowns and numbers really drove the point home.
And that's where they become so valuable. And it allows you to go out and either change something or it reinforces what you're already doing. And so it has emboldened Kevin Jepsen. He's got great stuff. He goes out there with a power arm and power breaking balls. And so when he's able to pitch from a position of strength, the hitter is behind the 8 ball. And the other thing that is nice about Kevin Jepsen, when you look at his breakout, pitch mix, very consistent. Even with runners in scoring position, where a guy with a big fastball tends to lean too much on the fastball, he still maintains a good mix.
Misses inside to Heathcott. Slade Heathcott draws a walk here with 2 outs. Just like the Rays in the bottom half of the third, the Yankees with a little 2-out threat here with first and second.
Number 77, right fielder, Ramon Flores.
So a visit at the mound from Kirk Casale. Casale getting a little extra time along with Bobby Wilson to play in this last week due to the injury to Rene Rivera. He's back, played yesterday. He'll get a DH stint tomorrow, Will Rivera. And then Saturday, when the top 3 pitchers in the rotation pitch, they'll have Rivera here in the game you'll see on Sun Sports, and then they'll have Casale and Wilson catch Chris Archer and Jake Odorizzi in minor league games. All 3 pitchers will be pitching at the same time on various fields here in Port Charlotte, Florida.
So how do you monitor it?
I don't know.
Yeah, who's watching who?
Right. There's a AA game, a AAA game,
And, of course, the big game that we'll have on television for you. But that'll be an interesting day, to say the least. There used to be an assistant to the pitching coach, and he probably would have been designated to one of those fields.
I have the AA game.
The former assistant to the pitching coach, not the assistant pitching coach, the assistant to the pitching coach. And that was a nod to The Office, a show that Joe Madden was very fond of through the years.
The play on words diminished my role even further. I was a gopher. Need some coffee? I was your man.
Stop.
Break down this one hitter. I could do that for you.
That was the main pitching coach. Brian Anderson, before he joined us in our Sun Sports booth, was his assistant. We are happy for the transition. 2-0 the count to Flores, and he swings through that fastball 2-1. That was.
That's great. Talk about diminished role.
How does that picture keep coming up?
I want to know who in management just is not a big fan, because how does that get okayed?
I think I know who okayed it.
I'd like to know.
2-1 the count to Ramon Flores.
I'm going to go apologize.
That ball is driven well to right field. All the way back goes Geyer. This is off the fence. 1 run scores. Around third comes Heathcott Hill's score. Ramon Flores with a 2 RBI double to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead here in the 4th.
Boy, maybe on a normal day that ball ends up getting out of here. That ball was blistered by Flores to get it that deep. With the way the wind is here at Charlotte Sports Park, where you could see full extension and sweet contact.
That's the same swing he used a couple of nights ago to walk off a game against the Tigers. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, down 2, and a count of 2-2. They were 1 strike away, and Flores walked it off. That was a pretty swing from the left side.
Sure was.
So here's Cole Figueroa. He sends this high in the air. Geyer will come in on this ball and makes the play for the final out. But a couple of runs score in the 4th for the Yankees, and New York has a 3-1 lead. Sunsplash Day here in Charlotte County, Florida. The Yankees leading the Rays 3-1. We're ready for another exciting season of Rays baseball. Purchase your 2015 ticket plan today to get the best seat locations. Choose from a variety of plans and don't miss a minute of the fun with Rays baseball. For ticket plan information, visit raysbaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Flores, Ramon Flores in the right field grass here at Charlotte County Sports Park with a 2 RBI double to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead. Adam Warren on for his 4th inning of work. The Rays have used 3 pitchers to this point. Jordan Alberto started with 2 innings, allowed 1 run. Grant Balfour with a perfect 1-2-3 third inning facing the top of the lineup. And then Kevin Jepson, who should be in for more than 1 inning today, was hit around a little bit in that 4th. 2 base hits and a walk when the Yankees scored 2 runs. So here's James Loney for the Rays to lead off the 4th. It'll be Loney, Desmond Jennings, and Kevin Kiermaier. First pitch to Loney misses outside for a ball, 1-0.
Well, James Loney, one of the most underrated hitters, soft-spoken, quiet, keeps to himself. But he just goes out, has a great approach, good idea of what he wants to do each and every at-bat, and he never gives them away.
Nope.
You don't see him going up there sloppy in an at-bat, going up swinging at the first pitch that's way out of the strike zone for a week out. He is able to consistently put up quality at-bats. Doesn't mean he's going to get a hit every time, but he's up there with a good plan trying to execute it each and every time up.
This time he goes opposite field over the shortstop Didi Gregorius for a base hit. Fumbled for a moment by Chris Young, but he recovers, and James Loney has a leadoff base hit.
That's the secret to his success right here, the ability to hit the ball the other way up the middle. That ball was a fastball in by Adam Warren. Look at him stay inside that baseball, pull the hands through, and rocket it right back through the box.
Here's Desmond Jennings taking a pitch low and away for a ball, 1-0. We're going to hear from Derek Shelton, the hitting coach for the Rays, next half inning. And one of the guys he's been raving about is a guy who's had some good springs the last few years, Desmond Jennings. Desmond hit .344 a couple of years ago and hit .386 last year in the spring, including an OPS of over 1,000. But this year he's hitting .500. Coming into this game, he made an out on a line drive his first time up. And we'll hear from Derek next inning, but he really thinks this could be the breakout year for Desmond Jennings.
Been kind of waiting for it, you know, the last couple. And I think Desmond has expected it the last couple of years. It hasn't happened yet. He seems bound and determined to make sure that 2015 is the year. And you're right, to be this deep into spring training and have played and had as many at-bats as he's had, and to be still sitting there at .500 shows you that he did a lot of work in the offseason and he came ready to go.
13 for 26 coming into this game. Last year he was big. He had bulked up in the offseason, kind of resembled a safety. This year he's more like a cornerback. He's more leaned out. I don't think he's lost the power, but he looks more lean and back to the original Desmond Jennings that we knew.
Well, and maybe that helps him with bat speed. Sometimes when you bulk up a little bit too much, everything starts to move a little bit slower than you would like. When you're thinking in your head just the raw strength will increase my bat speed. Not the case all the time. So maybe you lean out just a little bit. The bat speed picks up. He's more apt to run now. Pretty good bat speed.
That was a lot of bat speed right into the crowd here. Desmond Jennings lost his bat on the strikeout, and the bat goes sailing into the first row of the stands. Looks like everybody's okay. Usually the fans aren't the ones to offer the bat back.
I was going to say, very rarely do you see that. What a nice man right there. Does he want this back? He may not want it after that. Good pitch by Warren. The chase. And there it goes. Look out.
So that's the first out of the inning. Strikeout number 4 for Adam Warren. He has picked up 1 in each inning thus far. Here's Kevin Kiermaier, who turned a single into a double his first time up.
It'll be interesting to see what role that speed will play for the Rays offensively. When you talk about Desmond Jennings and now Kevin Kiermaier, what they could potentially be capable of.
It is interesting because there's a chance they'll hit next to each other in the lineup when the regular season starts. So that could potentially be almost like your leadoff spot, because that's where all your speed is packed in those two spots in the order.
And if they're going to hit a little bit further down in the lineup, then all of a sudden it's like you get that running start towards the end as it flips back over to the top of the order. We'll just have to see how it all shakes out, but there are some potentials there.
Kiermaier knows he'll be the opening day center fielder. Desmond Jennings knows he'll be the opening day left fielder. And even though it hasn't been announced yet, it does appear that the guy getting the most at-bats in right field this season is going to be Steven Souza Jr. And that is going to be an outfield that will cover a lot of ground, as you mentioned. Kiermaier goes down swinging. Strikeout number 5 for Warren. Don't forget, coming up on opening day, April 6th, we're going to have a full 90-minute pregame show. Coverage begins at 1:30 for the 3:07 first pitch. Evan Longoria, the Tampa Bay Rays, taking on the Baltimore Orioles. And again today, the Rays naming Chris Archer as the opening day starter. He will get the ball for the Rays on April 6th. Special coverage coming your way with a 1:30 pregame show. Fine job by Adam Warren as he leaves here in the bottom of the 4th with 2 outs. Yankees leading 3-1. Yankees leading the Rays 3-1 as we continue play here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Don't forget to take a chance and experience Charlotte Sports Park. It's been rated the #1 spring training ballpark by the readers of USA Today. And the Boston Red Sox are in town, not only Saturday, but also Tuesday. General admission tickets are available Saturday, and all categories of tickets are available on Tuesday. Come enjoy the Rays' last few games of the spring. Buy now at raysbaseball.com/spring.
Every time I come down to this park, I'm just amazed just how beautiful it is. You've got your lawn seating, you've got your traditional seating. Love the walkway from the left field foul pole over to the right field foul pole. Beautiful facility.
You have the 360 degrees where you can walk entirely around the stadium and never miss a pitch, which is very cool. I think that boardwalk is usually the most popular place, but I think the berm areas too. I love those, right down the lines.
Well, there's something to be said for throwing out the blanket and lawn seating for spring training games.
There's also a little area as Jose Ramirez takes over for the Yankees here in the 4th inning in back of Adam Warren, who goes 3 2/3 innings. So far responsible for the runner at first, has allowed 4 hits and a run to this point. Logan Forsythe, the batter.
We talked about it in the open. Logan Forsythe is going to get the bulk of that playing time over at second base, and you got to figure that consistent playing time is going to help his swing, help to keep him sharp. We've seen him using the other part of the field, the big part of the field, some power to right field here in the spring training.
Yeah, hit a couple of opposite field home runs in that game in Clearwater against the Phillies, and has 3 on the spring. That's more than anybody else in the team.
Well, as if we've seen with James Loney, when you have that ability to use the whole field, you're just much more dangerous of a hitter. You stay out of shifts, and you give yourself more holes to hit.
Popped high in the air on the 2-0 pitch. Always a little more difficult in the spring. Who wants it? Looks like Slade Heathcott will make the play. Had to battle the sun and the wind. And we come back at the end of 4. We'll be joined by the Rays hitting coach Derek Shelton. 3-1 Yankees. For his second inning of work, the Yankees leading 3-1 as we head to the fifth inning. Joined now in the Rays dugout by hitting coach Derek Shelton. Derek, first of all, let's talk about a guy who batted last inning, Desmond Jennings. He's had quite a spring.
Yeah, very excited, where he's at. Some adjustments this winter, some different thoughts for him going in, and really excited about where he's at. Probably as excited as I've been with Desmond since I've been here.
Hey, Derek, how do you do that? When these guys go home in the offseason, you talk about the work that he did during that offseason, the ideas that you gave him. How is that done when you're not working, obviously, with him on a one-on-one basis?
Well, we were able to a little bit with him because Des spent all winter in Tampa. So, he hit a little bit, and then he came in and did some work at the Trop at the beginning of February. And at that time, he was in a good position with his legs. His body was good, and I think that's where we sat down and talked not only about his approach, but what he was going to do fundamentally. So we're fortunate that we have the Trop and we're able to have guys in there.
It appears that he may be a little lower in the lineup, maybe in more of a run-driving spot. Is that a comfort zone for him?
Yeah, I think so. He's driven the ball a little bit. I think we had him in a leadoff spot, initially just because he runs well, and I think we're getting better, closer to his skill set because he can drive the ball in the gap. We've seen him do things like that. So I'm excited about where he's going to be in the order, how our order is going to work.
Derek, talk to us about some other guys that you've noticed starting to ramp their game up as the regular season fast approaches, that are starting to turn it up and looking ready to go.
Well, I'm excited about Evan. The two at-bats he had today, he hit the ball in the seats, and then the other ball he squared up right in the nose with a couple guys on base. Loney's had better at-bats today. Really excited. Strubal's last at-bat really was very good with the fact that Strubal's last at bat with the fact that he didn't go outside of the zone and took the walk, and there's a lot of good things happening as we get in. After the last off day, get in, and we're working on specific things. But now I think we're going to see more of the at bats and the way the lineup's going to be. So it should be interesting.
This is when you would like to start to see the results this last week and a half?
Yeah, I think, there's been times like you watch games and there's specific things like we've been working on, we've been doing that, people don't know about when they're watching games or how they're doing it. So this last week or so. And then the other thing is, you get some good pitching. Yesterday we got Kyle Gibson who threw the ball well. Today we were able to get Warren, which we're going to see, probably in the Yankee rotation. Tomorrow we're supposed to get Bud Norris. You start to see guys that are lengthened out and you're seeing quality pitching. So I think it's exciting when you start to be able to do that.
Going back to Cabrera, his spring, what have you seen? As a switch hitter, it's always difficult. You're trying to work on two different swings, getting ready for the season.
Yeah, we are. And we actually, Stribble and I talked a little bit today about his left-handed swing and making some adjustments to it. I think, although I've known Stribble a long time, I've known him since he was a rookie, we had some time where we weren't together with the fact that he stayed in Cleveland and I've been here. So it was kind of giving him a little bit of time to see what he had, and then now that we're at this point of the spring, I've started to throw a little bit of some suggestions and some thoughts in, watching some old video and kind of going from there. And today I'm really happy with where he's at. He took a good swing his first time and should have had a base hit, and then the second time he had a walk and took a 2-0 pitch that he shouldn't have swung at that he's been chasing. So I think there's a lot of good things trending there.
I know it's been a fun spring for the Rays. Beautiful spring weather-wise on the field. Off the field, Derek, has been a good spring for you in the Texas Hold'em games?
Yeah. I've gotten a little static because I've done fairly well, and I did well in the development or the baseball side, and then the scouting side, I've done well. So
you consider the guy to beat coming into the season?
I don't know. I think Allie's really happy because it's helped her out with. Unfortunately, I told her I won the money, so it's all gone to her. But yeah, I think in going into our card game, TK, I'm probably the guy that has got the X on his head. I know RV thinks that he's a top-notch player, but as we well know, he only takes like half the trips, and he only plays, and then so.
So are you saying there's not much competition then?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's the spirit of the game, the love of the game, and but I have had a good spring.
Todd, what he's saying is that he's fitting himself right now as we speak for the bracelet.
No, it's not about as much as these guys especially Chico wants to make it about the bracelet. It's not about the bracelet. It's it's about the camaraderie and the fellowship and just being with the guys on the plane, and then who's going to walk away with the most with the most money.
I know that I sit 2 rows behind the fellowship and the camaraderie, and I know I enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah, the fellowship can get spirited a little bit. I mean, I think Hick and TK have some math issues at times. So, but it'll be fun.
Chico still cannot understand how you want all the money.
No, Chico can't. But I mean, come on, that's Chico. That's what we're talking about.
We appreciate the time as always. Let you go here, and thanks, Derek.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to the season.
All right, buddy.
Okay, see you.
Good breaking ball there by Kevin Jepson to end his day as he gets Brendan Ryan looking at a called third strike.
Good way to end it.
Kevin Cash comes out to get his right-hander. Ernesto Frieri, another right-hander, will be the next one out of the Rays bullpen. He'll be the 4th reliever for the Rays this afternoon. Yankees top half of the 5th inning. As the Rays home opener draws near, get ready for all 162 games with the Rays season preview. The episode is full of in-depth Rays analysis, unprecedented clubhouse access, so be sure to catch the show's debut today, right after the game here on Sun Sports. It'll be our 2015 Tampa Bay Rays season preview that was shot a couple of extra times due to injuries during the course of the spring.
You got in some yeoman's work. Did you quarterback the thing?
Not real. I mean, I'm just a role player.
Don't say I'm just a guy.
I am just a role player. Here's Ernesto Frieri as he comes on out of the bullpen for the Rays. A guy who at points was as dominant as any closer in the game, and last year had a tough time.
Well, we talked about 2012, 2013, 60 out of 67 saves. These numbers, not nearly what you would expect out of Frieri, but one thing that really struck me when the Rays signed him is they said, listen, we don't think that the stuff is any worse. There's some tweaks that we can make that we feel that we can get him back on track, but it's not lacking. He's not lacking for stuff, and I think that'll be something to watch because he could be a big player out of that pen.
There's a little bit of that stuff right there. Breaking ball that Chris Young swings through, 0-1. Frieri with the 4-seam fastball and the 2-seam fastball, but he'll throw that curveball a lot to righties, and you just saw it right there as he breaks off an 0-1 count on Young. Runner on second, 1 out. Head of the count, 0-2.
I think there were times, too, with Frieri that he got a little bit too predictable with the fastball. I mean, you knew you were going to see the fastball, and these guys that have a high-velocity fastball use it, but it would seem that he just overused it at times. But that breaking ball that we just saw and the ability to move that fastball around.
Pickoff attempt off the glove of Forsythe does not go far enough away for Didi Gregorius to advance.
Just a routine pickoff play. You're going to see right here Frieri trying to catch Gregorius. Throw a little bit behind Logan, but a ball that's got to be caught. Good hustle by Cabrera to get to that and keep Gregorius at second base.
Rays trying that pickoff move out of the shift with Forsythe on the shortstop side of second base. Chris Young behind in the count, 0-2.
Well, that can be difficult, too. You think about Logan Forsythe as a second baseman, making that play at second, heading over that way. He's used to moving that way. All of a sudden, now he's moving from shortstop. He's got to try to find the bag. The throw's a little bit offline. The degree of difficulty goes up.
Swing and a foul tip caught by Casale. That's a strikeout for Frieri. Kevin Jepson had a couple of strikeouts while he was in there. That's now 8 strikeouts for Rays pitchers.
Well, we saw last year the Rays pitching staff neck and neck with the Cleveland Indians for the major league lead all season long, so they can ring some strikeouts up. That was a good one there, a good breaking ball by Frieri.
Four strikeouts for Norberto, a strikeout for Balfour, 2 strikeouts for Jepson, and now Frieri comes out of the bullpen with another strikeout. So this bullpen day, in 4 2/3 innings, the Rays have 8 of the 14 outs via strikeouts. Here's Garrett Jones. He was one of 3 strikeout victims of Jordan Norberto in the first inning. Called strike, 0-1.
Another reason to be encouraged for the potential of this Rays bullpen. One thing to get outs, it's another to be able to go out and dominate a hitter and pick up strikeouts, even though they find themselves behind 3-1.
There's a nice fastball. Jones laid on 0-2.
Overmatched on that particular pitch.
Whenever the Rays acquire a pitcher and they really like him, or even when they're going out and trying to scout guys, you always hear swing and miss stuff. And Frieri has that swing and miss stuff. If he can refine what ailed him last year, he could really be a nice addition to the bullpen. Gregorius on the move with 2 outs. Nobody's covering third base, so he figured why not. In that shift, the Rays had left third base unoccupied.
Well, the Rays will get aggressive with the shift, as we're starting to see all over baseball. And you can see how it lines up right there. And you're right, it's a race. He's just going to take off right now and walk to third.
There's a fastball away. No swing, 1-2.
I mean,
that looked funny.
Because
Frieri never looked back.
No, never looked back. It wouldn't have mattered if he did. I mean, there's nobody at third base. Just that's a concession, a 90-foot concession. Now, the only downside is now you start to think, okay, breaking ball in the dirt,
right,
and a free run.
I mean, he's getting a huge jump off third because nobody's at third.
And there you go. There was the pitch, an off-speed pitch by Frieri, and Casale has to go down and keep it from going through the 5-hole, or the Yankees would have added to that lead.
And he can literally go to about the halfway point down the line as this pitch is being made.
Absolutely right. That ball does not have to get far away from Casale for him to score. Look at this.
Swing and a miss, doesn't matter as Frieri picks up 2 strikeouts out of the pen. The Rays pick up 3 strikeouts in the inning. It's still 3-1 New York.
Three to 1 here with Kevin Jepson. Kevin, a lot of Kevins on this team. Do you have a nickname yet?
Just Jep, but it makes it easy. You know, coming to a new team, you just throw out Kev and you're going to get a couple names right.
What's the most exciting part about joining a new team and getting to know all these new guys?
You know, it's a young team. There's a lot of energy here. Guys are always coming in here in a good mood in the morning, ready to work, and, you know, it's kind of refreshing.
How important is that energy when, you know, going into this season, it's a grind, 162 games, just to have young guys that are kind of going through the same thing when you're playing this game?
It keeps it fun. You know, it's such a long season. You said 162 games, 180-something days. If you're out there and you're not having fun, it feels like it drags on forever. So, it's a game that we grew up loving to play, and, we're able to do it for a job. So to come in here and everybody kind of on the same page, having fun, but at the same time getting your work in, it's very enjoyable.
About a week and a half until opening day. Are you starting to feel more comfortable out there on this team?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still kind of in that period where you're going out there and you're trying to work on pitches, but at the same time, you got to get guys out. So it's a transition period. I think I have about another 3 or 4 outings left. So, at this point, it just becomes like normal season. You go out there and you just try and get guys out any way possible. So, it's getting down towards the end, and that excitement's starting to creep in.
When you look back to last season, look ahead to this season, what are you looking to improve on in your game?
It's tough. You always try and get better. If you're not trying to get better at this game, it's going to pass you by. There's always young guys coming in and fighting for jobs and all that. So for me, it's just, minimizing damage, getting ahead of hitters, throwing strike one, and, just putting myself in a good situation.
Kevin Cash, the new guy at the top. What are your initial thoughts on him?
Love him. He's awesome. He brings, that energy we're talking about. He brings it, from the start. And he's out here having a good time, walking around the outfield, talking to guys. It's just a great communication. He always wants to know how his guys are doing, how you're feeling, and how stuff going on, outside the field. We spend so much time here on the field, but, he seems to genuinely care what's going on in our lives outside. So it's been awesome, being here with him.
Okay, it's Kevin Jepson, but we're going to call him Jep. That's his nickname on the team. A lot of Kevins here. Thank you so much for your time, Kevin.
Absolutely. Thank you. All
right, Todd, we're going to send it back up to you.
All right, Emily, appreciate it. Kevin Jepson, a big part of that Rays bullpen in 2015. Good to hear from him. Steven Souza Jr. gets his first at-bat of the day as he is the new DH, taking over for David DeJesus. I would say he's pinch hitting for DeJesus, but usually that entails the guy staying in the dugout right up until he's hit for. I think David's been gone from the dugout for a couple of innings now. When you know you're the DH in a spring game and you're getting 2 ABs, once that second AB is over, you are gone.
In the weight room.
Probably.
In the weight room.
Here's a try to check swing, but he goes around. It was a 3-0 pitch. And he just asked Doug Vines, the home plate umpire, if that would have been a called strike had he not gone around. It's 3-1.
Well, 3-0, he's wanting to dial it up, and if he's going to get a fastball, want to take a good rip at it, that was not quite in the zone where he wanted it.
That one was.
I was going to say that one you may have wanted to turn loose. 3-1 heater that split the plate.
He's been working deep counts this whole spring, and he's a guy that's going to be very patient at the plate. It seems like he pitches per plate appearances is going to be one of the top guys amongst the young players in the league. And there's a good eye on the 3-2 pitch for ball 4.
Well, that was a pretty good pitch. Down around the knees. Looked like it was on the plate, maybe just a little bit too far down. Now, hitters that are not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, it's a rare bunch. If you're going to work deep counts, that's what you're going to have to do, is be comfortable and okay with hitting with 2 strikes.
Just the second walk drawn by Souza this spring, but he has worked a lot of deep counts, has a couple of homers and 6 RBIs. Here's Brandon Guyer, doubled his last time up. Chance to drive in a run here with the Rays trailing 3-1. First and second, nobody out. Jose Ramirez on the mound for the Yankees, second pitcher of the game for New York. Ramirez, a 25-year-old righty, 6'3", 190-pounder, has already been sent to the AAA team, Scranton Wilkes-Barre, this spring, but he remains pitching in some major league games.
Anytime you get that opportunity to go out in front of the big league brass and pitch against big league hitters, always looking to impress.
Here's a ball ripped to left field, base hit, and an RBI for Guyer. As around third comes Casale. He'll score to make it a 1-run game.
Well, the fastball from Ramirez looks to have pretty good velocity to it, but it's also pretty straight. And that was a nice job of Brandon Guyer. Quick with the trigger. He rifles that ball into left field. The Rays cut into the lead.
Good to see Guyer, opposite field double, now pulling a line drive single to left, 2 back-to-back solid at-bats. Reached up for a tough pitch last at bat against Warren. Just trying to get the timing back. Those 6 ABs in that minor league game yesterday appear to have helped. Here's Cabrera. He walked his last time up. You heard Derek Shelton talking about how he was impressed he didn't leave the zone in that at bat. Swings it, misses at that first pitch, 0-1. In the air to left field, the wind is blowing out that way, all the way back to the wall, off the wall. The Rays had to hold up to make sure that ball would fall, so there's 2 runners at second base. The play at the plate, not in time, but somebody has to move off to second base for the Rays. Brandon Geyer finally leaves. Asdrubal Cabrera never realized what was going on. So Geyer will be tagged out, but the Rays tie the game on the double.
And Asdrubal Cabrera had absolutely no thoughts of heading back to first base to help out.
Oh, he's taking off his elbow guard.
He's like, listen, I'm at second base. This is my bag. You go find your way to third. First of all, nice job, a nice swing right here by Asdrubal Cabrera. Gets that ball up into the wind. Hit that ball well, but a little bit of benefit from the wind. But then he's going to head into second base. That's going to score a run. And poor Brandon Geyer was out to dry. Here's Cabrera around at second like, hey, bud, this is mine.
If anything, he was moving towards third, towards Geyer. He was not leaving that bag.
No concern at all for Brandon Geyer. You're on your own.
Opposite field double by Cabrera and some smiles in the dugout after he forced Geyer off the bag.
He may not even have realized that it was him standing there.
It was bizarre because he's taken off his elbow guard. It was almost like there was no
concern.
No.
You're on your own. I doubled. I drove in a run. You find your way to third. That's your only option.
Because you're not taking
And they're standing down there with the baseball waiting for you, like 3 of them.
Tim Beckham is the pinch runner. What do you have, Emily?
Hey, Todd, so Asdrubal just came in the dugout and you just big smile on his face. I'm sorry, guys. I was just so excited.
It was pretty cool. It's been a tough spring for him, Emily. You're right. I mean, he only has a few hits prior to today. Came in with 5 hits, and all of them were singles. So had he gone back to first, as Longoria sends one the opposite way, and a nice catch made by Flores for the second out of the inning. Evan has taken a ball to left field for the home run. Hit a ball pretty sharply to center, and now opposite field.
Hurt a little bit with the wind there. That ball was struck well, placed well, but it kind of hung up there at the very end. And Flores, who got it done with the stick earlier in the ball game, now gets it done with the glove.
So had Cabrera done what was best for the team and headed back to first, he would have lost his first extra base hit of the spring.
That's why I'm telling you, he wasn't going back. I doubled. I'm staying right here.
There's 2 outs.
I don't blame him.
And Beckham on second base. Tim Beckham will take over at shortstop for Asdrubal Cabrera. Again, the starters will get 3 ABs. Good at bats today from Evan Longoria. He continues to have a real nice spring. Brandon Geyer's at bats today, maybe the best of his spring. So those 2, 3, 4 hitters getting the job done today in a 3-3 game. This should be James Loney's final at bat. He has flied to right and also singled into left center field his last time up. Here's a ball in the shallow left. Heathcote will come on and make the play for the final out of the inning. So we're through 5. The Rays have tied it up with a couple of runs here in the 5th. 3-3.
Welcome back to Charlotte Sports Park. The Rays tied it up with the Yankees at the bottom of the fifth. Brandon Guyer here. What happened there between second and third with that Asdrubal Cabrera hit?
Yeah, no, that was weird. It was one of those situations where I was off so far on the ball. And when the ball hit, I was at second and Souza was too. And I feel like if I went to third and followed Souza and he didn't send Souza, two guys would be stuck at third. So it was a situation I was just caught up in the middle. And it was one of those where I didn't know what to do. And, you know, I don't know.
But it's okay because it's spring training, right?
Get it out of the way now.
What kind of teammate has Cabby been since you guys have been here?
He's been great. You know, he comes up, puts the work in. You know, he's even keel. He's just a great guy to be around. And, you know, he got a double out of that at least. So, you know, we'll take it.
He walked into the dugout and said, "I'm sorry, guys. I was just so excited." So you have to forgive him for that. Brandon, talk about this season and going into the season. What are your expectations for this team?
You know, I feel like every year, every team, you should expect to get to the playoffs, and we're no different. There's been a lot of change going on, but you know, I feel like we have a good group of guys here. We work hard every day. You know, we've got a great clubhouse, and you know, I think we got great things ahead of us.
Why do you think change could be beneficial to this club coming into this new season?
You know, change. I mean, we had a great team last year. Things didn't go our way, but when things like that happen, maybe a new perspective, new teammates can change it around. So that's kind of what we're thinking. But you know, it's just I love being around these guys, and I think we'll be all right.
Another new face around is Kevin Cash, throwing BP to you guys earlier today. What kind of manager has he been, even though it's early?
He's been great. You know, he's always in the clubhouse. He lets you know what's going on. I don't want to get hit by a foul ball.
You're good.
But you know, he's great to be around. You know, you just play hard for him, and he'll like you. And you know, so far so good. I love playing for him, and I know the rest of the guys do too.
Game 21 of spring training, I've been saying. Are you starting to feel a little bit more comfortable at the plate, especially today?
I'm getting there. You know, I missed so much time with the oblique and the ankle. So I'm kind of playing catch up, but going down to the minor leagues and getting a lot of at-bats has helped a lot. So I'm getting there. You know, I feel like my timing's pretty good, but it's the off-speed that's kind of throwing me for a loop right now. So,
what are your goals going into this season offensively?
Just to do whatever I can to help the team win. I feel like I had a pretty good year last year. Just want to build off of that. And you know, whatever opportunity I get to help the team and put the team in a good position, you know, I'm all for it.
Excited about opening day, a week and a half away. It's creeping up on us.
Cannot wait.
All right, Brandon Guyer, thank you so much for your time. Todd, guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Okay, Emily, in the middle of a pitching change here, Kevin Cash taking the ball, and he'll hand it off to Brad Boxberger. How about Ernesto Frieri's outing?
How about that? I mean, just racking up the strikeouts. I mean, that's what he's capable of. That's why the Rays are excited to have him. And you can see where he would fit in as we talk about these power bullpens, these dominant bullpens, shortening games.
4 batters, 4 strikeouts.
That's right. And we saw a good fastball. We saw him elevate some fastballs. That's the one thing that you guys that have straight fastballs, you think Jake Odorizzi, Chris Archer, where they've got that power 4-seam, fastball, you start to think about the elevation. Know that the Rays pitching staff, they love to elevate that fastball if you can keep it on the same plane. And we saw Frieri be able to do that in combo with the breaking ball. Very nice.
And you know what's a nice combo as Jim Hickey talks to his reliever and actually cheers for him as he stands next to him, is now you go to Brad Boxberger with that filthy changeup coming off Frieri. That's not a bad back-to-back either.
No. You have options coming out of the bullpen. There's different ways that you can be a power pitcher, and Brad Boxberger is such with a changeup. He does have the fastball that he can overpower you with velocity, but then all of a sudden he drops that changeup down there, and he gives you those 2 pitches. It's a lot for a hitter to handle. That ball comes out of his hand. You can't tell right away whether it's the changeup with a lot less velocity than the fastball and good late movement, or it's that mid-90s power fastball, and he was able to use that to his advantage last year, where he was able to ring up 104 strikeouts in just 64 2/3 innings of work.
It will be interesting to see who gets the ball in the 9th inning while Jake McGee is on the disabled list. And I think the lead candidate would probably be this guy, but I don't think Kevin Cash is locked into one closer per se.
I think that's what's going on with both managers. When they started to talk about Dellin Betances and Andrew Miller with the New York Yankees, there was talk that we're not going to name a closer right now, and guys may get 5-out saves, maybe matchups, and see what works out best. But I think you're absolutely right. Keep those options open.
And it has been a difficult spring for Dellin Betances. He has not been very strong this spring as he tries to work back into that role where he succeeded so well last year. Here's Boxberger, who's added a wrinkle literally to his repertoire. He did not throw any curveballs in the second half of last year and said he guessed he only threw about 5 all season, but he is now contemplating a curveball in 2015. We'll have more on that, but the Rays pitching staff continues to rack up the strikeouts. 12 strikeouts through 6 innings. Half of the 6th inning, Rays bullpen has struck out 6 in a row. Sunday history will be made in Martinsville as the first ever NASCAR Sprint Cups point race will be broadcast on Fox Sports 1. Kurt Busch will look to defend his title from last year in the first short track race of the season. Coverage begins Sunday at 11:30 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Another special guest in the dugout standing by with Emily Austin.
Tom Foley, you're not going to see him at third base this year, the Rays' new bench coach. What makes you most excited about this new role, Bo?
Well, just getting the opportunity to work with Kevin, being in the dugout. I've had good times over there at third base, but this is a new challenge.
What do you think the players' reaction is? Have you been giving some advice to Charlie, or do you think they're adjusting well?
Well, he's asking a lot of the right questions. He wants to know arm strength, if I know him. How they move, how they throw, going on the run or stuff. So, a lot of information is being passed on. But again, Charlie's done this for 18 years as a manager in our minor league. So, I don't think he needs much help.
How has your relationship started with Kevin Cash, and what do you do to keep it growing?
Well, we had a good relationship when he was over here as a player, joking around a little bit here and there and getting to know each other. It's just been an easy transition. It's like we've known each other, for a long time. So, we think on the same lines, and there's a lot of conversation going on during the course of the game. We're learning each other, what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, and he'll keep doing that as the season goes on.
It seems like he's really involved with these players, throwing to them for BP. Why is that unique for a manager?
Well, again, he's young, not very far removed from the game as a player. He understands the modern-day player here, and he relates to him. It's just an easy how I want to say it. He just gets along with him real good. I mean, he communicates with them real well. There's not much that he doesn't understand what they're going through and what he wants them to do and what he wants them to accomplish. So it's been an easy communication as far as that goes.
What kind of advice has he asked from you? Being a young guy, even though he is just out of the game, just this different role that he's in.
Well, it's a big role, obviously, and again, he's taken it to it great. He's relaxed. It's easy. Obviously, it's spring training. We've got to see a lot of the players. We've got to make moves, and they're just easy moves. Guys go to play, and then they come out, and the other guys go in, and pitchers have to pitch that day. So, it's going to get a little bit more cranked up next week, the last week of spring training. We're going to do things kind of in-house, like game situations, and play it that way.
With just a week and a half until opening day, what are what's your focus on everything going into opening day, and what are you guys most focused on right now as Jennings?
Well,
hits one over. Wow, we have the lead. The Rays up 4-3 over the Yankees. Desmond Jennings hits it over left field wall. Let's forget my first question. Why are you excited about this new team?
Well, again, we've got a little bit more athleticism here. We're going to be able to run the bases a little bit. I think we're going to put guys in action when we're on the bases. And it's just a great feeling. It's a real good feeling going on right now. We got to take it into the season. Obviously, I said we're going to amp it up next week, and guys are going to go play some full games, go play 9, and to get used to that. And so, right now, the one thing you want to do is get all the fundamentals right, get those out of the way. We feel real good about whatever comes up in the course of the game, you can handle it.
Desmond Jennings, a fast guy out in the field. So is Kevin Kiermaier. How important is it for you guys to take advantage of base running and the speed on this team? Because you're not going to have those big power hitters.
Well, we got a couple guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, just like Desmond showed you. But we do have speed, a little bit of speed, and those guys got to be active on the bases. We need to create a little bit of havoc when we're on the bases. When we get that chance, again, we want to be aggressive, but you want to be intelligent. And hopefully those guys can do that for us this year.
You've been with the Rays a long time. What keeps you coming back?
Well, they sit by Kiermaier. You know what? I love the city of Tampa. I've been there for a long time. The guys are great. The organization's great. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to be right here.
All right, Tom Foley, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on your new role. Kevin Kiermaier gets a single, and the Rays are on top of the Yankees 4-3. Todd will send it back up to you.
All right, Emily, nicely done. The Rays taking the lead for the first time in this game.
That was the first question. The last question that was asked of Tom Foley.
Yes.
What makes you keep coming back?
Right.
If he would have just dropped the paycheck, boom, and off he goes into that's it.
She could have done a mic drop at that point.
That's it.
Yeah.
Done. Both of them.
Foley's been around longer than anybody
Yes,
in the
he has.
organization. All the way back to the minor league days and the Gulf Coast League team. And good to see him. I don't think you could find a better guy to be the right-hand man for Kevin Cash.
Couldn't agree more. Kevin Cash, we talked earlier, the advanced scout for 1 year, 2 years as a bullpen coach with the Cleveland Indians, now the manager of a major league team. So you want to surround him with, a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. Tom Foley certainly is that. He knows these players inside and out.
Mm-hmm. And during that interview with Tom Foley, Desmond Jennings gave the Rays the lead, and Emily Austin standing by with DJ.
Thanks, Todd. Des, nice hit over left field wall. What have you worked on offensively this season? This off season, rather.
Nothing different. I don't know. Nothing really different than last year. Just consistency is what I want to be able to do.
The guys up in the booth were talking about you slimmed down a little bit, not as bulky. Do you think that helps with your swing, or what was the change physically this off season for you?
You want to get in a position to, you want to play 162 games. So I just wanted to find a way to put myself in the best position to stay on the field. And, so far, I like the way I feel so far.
I'm trusting you to let me know if there's a foul ball coming my direction. Desmond, moving over to left field, what excites you most about, making that switch?
I feel like, KK is a great center fielder. And, I feel like I'm a pretty good left fielder. I feel like, it betters the team. I feel like, him moving to center, me moving to left. I feel like we, kind of got two center fielders out there anyway. So I feel like it's going to do well for the team.
If it goes to plan, it looks like Steven Souza Jr. will be in right. What do you think you guys can do out there in the outfield?
I feel like, we got three good outfielders out there. It's not a weak spot. And, we hit the baseball, and, hopefully nothing falls out there in the outfield.
Your goals this season are? Not a big goal guy?
I am. But,
more numbers, or is it just generalized?
I got both. I do the numbers, but I keep them to myself.
Okay, we'll have to check in with you maybe after the season to see if you met those goals. Desmond Jennings gave the Rays the lead 4-3 over the Yankees. Todd, we'll send it back up to you. Des, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Emily, thank you. As Logan Forsythe goes down swinging after Kevin Kiermaier singled and stole second base after Desmond Jennings hit the home run. I love at the beginning of the interview with Emily, I don't think Des realized he was on camera. He was kind of going like he was given the sign for reeling in a fish. I think we know what his plans are when he leaves the ballpark today.
Yes, dead giveaway.
So a kid that grew up in Alabama, not too far from the water. That's a little R&R time here in spring training after a nice day where Desmond lined out to left and hit a home run in his 3 at-bats. Rays with a 4-3 lead. Kiermaier on second, Kurt Casale at the plate for his 3rd at-bat. All the starters who have had 3 at-bats have left the game with the exception of Evan Longoria. We'll see if these guys who have had their 3rd at-bats this inning will call it a day as well. On the mound for the Yankees is a big right-hander, Chris Martin. He's come on here in the 6th inning, 6'8", 215-pound right-hander, a 28-year-old. And actually, he's in a battle for that last spot in the Yankees bullpen. There goes Kiermaier trying to steal 3rd. No throw. Great jump by Kevin.
Well, a lot of moving parts there. Chris Martin, 6 feet, 8 inches tall. Kiermaier's already stolen second base, and he gets a great jump. He never stopped him, and this is just too easy.
So now with Kiermaier on 3rd and 1 out, the Yankees will bring the infield in. Figueroa and Gregorius on the left side, Ryan and Jones on the right side. Kurt Casale with a 1-1 count. Fastball inside, 2-1.
And that's what you're going to have to see. Tom Foley talked about it a little bit. When you have the opportunity with speed on the base paths, you need to make something happen. And Kevin Kiermaier, by virtue of stealing 2nd and now stealing 3rd, has put his team in a great opportunity to score a run, forcing the Yankees with the infield in.
In the dirt, here comes Kiermaier. They cover it home, not in time. Safe is Kevin Kiermaier. He steals 2nd, he steals 3rd, and a ball in the dirt results in a run.
Those are the little things, the difference between winning and losing in close ball games with a tremendous pitching staff. And Kevin Kiermaier, with his speed and hustle around the base paths, gets the Rays a run all on his own.
That ball was less than 10 feet off the dirt.
Well, yeah, but he got a decent secondary lead. He was still almost drifting back towards 3rd, but quick twitch, and he got it going towards home plate right away. And the speed takes care of the rest. He's an aggressive base runner. We know that.
So a ball has not been put in play since Kiermaier's single, and he has scored a run. And it's now 5-3 Rays.
Turned a single into a double earlier in the game, all on foot speed and effort.
Full count now to Casale. Strikeout for Martin, back-to-back strikeouts for the Yankees right-hander. But 2 runs have scored in the inning, and now back to the top of the order where Steven Souza is the hitter as a DH.
You remember the old the marketing campaign years and years and years ago, Chicks Dig the Long Ball?
Yep.
Chicks may dig the stolen base this year.
Mm-hmm. Kiermaier be a regular, everyday center fielder. He's a guy that, even if you're not a fan of the team, you can't help but like because of his hustle.
Right. He does it the right way.
Plays the game hard. He appreciates the fact that he's had to come a long way to get to the big leagues. Mm-hmm. And he appreciates that every day. And
isn't it funny how hard work, working hard to achieve a goal, just means so much more than that you're just given it. And he was not given anything. He had to work for every move through the minor leagues that he's made, and he is seizing upon the opportunity that he's been given. And he is a pleasure to be around, and more of a pleasure even to watch.
While Kiermaier had his first taste of the big leagues last year, Steven Souza's played in the big leagues, but this might be his first chance to get some regular ABs at the major league level.
Yeah, you got to figure that the Rays are going to let him go out there and get his ABs and see if he can duplicate that power that he showed last year in AAA.
Tough matchup here against the tall righty. Doesn't chase the slider there at 0-2. That's a good take. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It was a good adjustment because earlier, a couple pitches ago, he did chase one. And so now all of a sudden, recognizing that spin out of the hand of Chris Martin, he's able to lay off.
Martin made his big league debut last year with the Colorado Rockies. Down goes Souza swinging. Martin ends up striking out the last 3 hitters, but the Rays tack on 2. The power of Desmond Jennings and the legs of Kevin Kiermaier, and it's 5-3. Five-3 Rays as we head to the 7th inning. Rays up this season with Rays Flex Packs featuring a Rays pullover. These 3, 6, or 9 game packs offer huge savings and great rewards throughout the season. Pricing starts at $59. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com.
Leading off the top of the 7th for the Yankees, number 77, right fielder Ramon Flores.
7th inning baseball. Brad Boxberger came on and struck out Slade Heathcott to end the 6th. That is 6 consecutive strikeouts for Rays pitchers and a total of 12 in the game thus far. Now check that. 11 in the game thus far. 4 for... No, that is 12. 4 for Frieri, 4 for Norberto, 1 for Balfour, 2 for Jepsen, and now Brad Boxberger with 1. So 12 in the game, 6 in a row as we head to the 7th, and the Rays have the lead for the first time to start the inning.
Just to clear up the confusion, obviously you were looking at my scorecard, because we know mine is never right.
Every Rays starter is out of the game right now. So we have wholesale changes throughout the field. And when a play is made by one of them, we'll get to them. Now, we know Tim Beckham's in short. He took over the inning before. We have a whole new infield, whole new outfield. All the guys who started got 3 at-bats, and then their day was done. The exception being David DeJesus, who got 2 ABs. Fouled back to the screen. Ball cued towards shortstop. Cut off there by the third baseman, Elmore. His throw is a little bit wide, and safe on the infield single was Ramon Flores.
Number 62, third baseman, Cole Figueroa.
Not much you can do there. That ball not hit that hard. Good hustle up the first base line. Flores having a nice little game today for the Yankees.
He has. He's had a good week. The walk-off home run on Tuesday night against the Tigers. Double and an infield hit today. Drove in a couple of runs with that double. And here is Cole Figueroa. Figueroa, the former Ray, spent a lot of time in the Rays organization, including many games with the Durham Bulls and Charlie Montoya, so those guys were happy to see each other prior to the game. We heard Emily Austin talk with Tom Foley, who's now the bench coach. Bo did such a great job in the third base coach's box through the years, and now it's turned over. And a chance for Charlie Montoya in his first big league season to learn this league in a hurry.
And he's going to have to. I mean, this is where the experience of Tom Foley and knowing all of these outfield arms, what they're capable of, having watched them for years, gave him such an advantage down there in the third base coaching box, where you have to make split-second decisions that are runs or not. And so Charlie Montoya, a crash course.
Runner on second base after that pitch in the dirt. Pitch away, and the count goes to 3-1. Oh, you'll see this in the spring training game. We'd mentioned the Yankees didn't bring their regulars, so kind of typical. When you have a long drive, a lot of the veterans get a chance to stay at home and get their workout in at George M. Steinbrenner Field or the adjacent fields there. But the visitors really don't have anywhere to go, so usually their starters will stay in for more at-bats. Rays hitters can get their workout in the weight room and then get on home, but the visitors have to wait for the bus anyhow, so you might as well get your work in. As you take a look at Kirby Yates warming up in the bullpen, he celebrated his birthday yesterday.
And too many changes for the Yankees is going to make it much more difficult for us. No names on the back of the jerseys.
That's right. 3-2 pitch from Boxberger is grounded towards the right side. That is Alexi Casilla, who has entered the game, making his first play. And nice job by Figueroa getting the runner over.
It's always a bad sign when they give you the travel roster and it's on a spin.
One of the guys on the travel roster is actually the nephew of Paul O'Neill. We'll see him at some point, we would think.
Will we know it's him?
Yeah, I think they have a similar look. Michael O'Neill is one of the traveling players. There's a ball in the right field under the glove of Joey Butler. Didi Gregorius has his second consecutive hit as he drives in a run to make it a 5-4 game. Gregorius with the RBI double.
Well, able to float that ball out there, and Butler coming in, trying to make a play, a dive, and ends up about a foot short. Just can't quite get there.
Backed up by Corey Brown. So the outfield is Joey Butler in right, Corey Brown in center, and Eugenio Velez in left. Didi Gregorius' day is over, 2 for 4, and an RBI. Sir Didi Gregorius. Popped in the air. Juan Francisco has a play for the second out of the inning. 2 outs, a runner on second in a 5-4 game. Gregorius, we mentioned, is going to be the starting shortstop for the Yankees. Fine defensive player, has been raved about by the Yankees all spring. He got his 4 at-bats. The Rays looked like they were going to go 3 at-bats with their starters. The Yankees looking like they're giving their starters 4, as here's Chris Young in his 4th at-bat. Fouls one back.
Well, just what this Yankee team needed with Gregorius, an infusion of youth, athleticism.
Brad Boxberger trying to work through this 7th inning and keep the lead with the Rays. It's a 5-4 game. Little jam shot caught by Francisco in fair territory for the final out of the inning. A run scores on a couple of hits. As we head to the bottom half of the seventh, the Rays lead 5-4. The Yankees 5-4, seventh inning stretch here at Charlotte Sports Park. Speaking of this stadium, you can experience Charlotte Sports Park, rated the #1 spring training park by the readers of USA Today. Games continue throughout the month of March with matchups against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and more. You can buy your tickets now at raysbaseball.com/spring. Rays will play through the month of March here at Charlotte Sports Park, and then they will head to Tampa on the 1st to take on the Yankees, Clearwater on the 2nd to take on the Phillies, and Lakeland on the 3rd to take on the Tigers before Detroit faces the Rays at Tropicana Field. Danny Barawa is the new pitcher for the New York Yankees. Big right-hander takes over here in the bottom of the 7th for New York.
Well, you talk about an all-bullpen game. Danny Barawa, 14-8, 3.74 earned run average in 5 minor league seasons. Every single appearance out of the bullpen.
Split his time last year between AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 31 games, and 11 games at AA Trenton. As Joey Butler will be the first one to face Barawa here in the bottom of the 7th. Butler getting his first AB. You see what he did at the AAA level last year in Memphis. Ended up with 6 at-bats with the Cardinals. 6 games, 5 at-bats with the Cardinals at the big league level. Called strike to Butler, 0-1. Butler hit one earlier this spring, halfway up the batter's eye in center field for a home run. He's got crazy power when he gets a hold of one. There's a foul to the right side.
Big, strong guy. And you can see with that swing right there, he is not afraid to cut it loose.
Barawa out of St. John's, 26-year-old right-hander. Breaking ball fouled back. It's 1-2. In addition to Charlie Montoyo, we mentioned his new role as the third base coach. Good to see Rocco Baldelli back in a uniform again as the Rays' first base coach. Rocco had been working with the Rays administration, scouting, and now back on the field.
And you know that he's got to love that, being able to lace up the shoes, get the uniform on, go out and mix it up with the players.
We will hear in the following telecast Saturday for both the first and the third base coaches, Rocco Baldelli and Charlie Montoyo. We heard from Derek Shelton and Tom Foley today. Heard from Jim Hickey in Game 1 of our season, which was a week ago, our Thursday telecast a week ago. And our third spring training telecast in Port Charlotte will be Saturday. And we will have the final spring training game, that April 4th game from Tropicana Field. That'll be the full assortment. Saturday, it'll be Dwayne and Orestes. Today we introduced Rays fans to Emily Austin. You and I holding down the booth. And then Thursday, it will be a star-studded affair, the entire crew.
Full-on dress rehearsal.
It will be full-on. Rawa strikes out Butler to start the inning. It'll be an intriguing start to the season, regardless of where you think things may play out for the Rays in terms of wins and losses, and the expectations certainly are not there this year that they were in 2014. But then again, as a ball is ripped to right center field by Tim Beckham, this has a chance to be 3 as it goes all the way to the wall. Beckham heads to third, and he will go in standing.
Well, you've got to smell it coming out of the box. And that ball was well struck the other way by Tim Beckham. He had a good view of this ball as it is heading out towards right center field, and already has designs on once that ball got down, now I've got a chance for 3. Helmet comes off. He goes up a couple of gears and gets it standing up.
Always looks like you're running faster when the helmet comes off.
Always. The kids, you remember the kids that you played with that would either hand to the bill or you'd see them throw the head back to knock that thing off. Showtime.
Jake Elmore trying to drive in the run. This should be plenty deep to score the run. Beckham tags, and he will trot in with the Rays' 6th run of the day. Elmore the sac fly, Beckham the run scored, and the Rays lead it by 2 once again.
Go back and get that run right back. Nice job by Jake Elmore getting a pitch that he can get out into the outfield and drive in Tim Beckham.
You know, it's been quite a saga for Beckham throughout his career. Former #1 pick, has maybe taken more time than he would like, or the Rays thought when they first drafted him to get to the big leagues. But now this could be his shot to be the backup middle infielder heading into opening day.
You know, everybody develops and advances at different ages. You can't cookie cutter everybody. Certainly you'd like everybody to develop quickly. Some guys don't. They're late bloomers. And maybe that's the case with Tim Beckham. He's going to be given, and has been given, every opportunity to make this ball club this year as the backup, middle infielder. And now what he does with that opportunity, if he does make this team, what he does with making the team, we'll see.
With the shift on, Francisco grounds one to the right side, and he is the final out of the inning. The Rays add to the lead on the triple by Tim Beckham and a sac fly by Jake Elmore. Six-4 Rays as we head to the 8th inning. Kirby Yates, who turned 28 yesterday, on for the Rays as the 6th different reliever in this game for Tampa Bay. Pitcher number 4 in this game was very impressive, Ernesto Frieri.
Couldn't have done a better job. I mean, he goes out for an inning and a third, 4 strikeouts. We saw some good breaking balls, good sliders, elevated fastball. There's a good fastball down and away with good velocity. And Ernesto Frieri looking to bounce back this year And I'll tell you something, you know that pitching coach Jim Hickey is loving what he sees out there. In today's outing, he was impressive.
It has been an all-bullpen day for the Rays. It started with Jordan Orberto, who went 2 innings, allowed a run, struck out 4, and walked a couple. Grant Balfour pitched a perfect inning in the third, his second outing of the spring. Kevin Jepsen gave up a couple of runs in an inning and a third on the RBI double, 2 RBI double by Ramon Flores. Then Frieri, 4 batters, 4 strikeouts, and Brad Boxberger wraps up his day with an inning and a third, and ends up giving up the 1 run on the double by Gregorius. So now it's up to Kirby Yates as he will face the Yankees here in the 8th inning.
I was so excited about Ernesto's outing today, I almost gave him a few extra letters on the end of his name. Frieri, I almost went a Frierio. Just throw some on there.
You can buy a vowel and get a lot of letters turned over in that last name. Nick Noonan will lead things off for the Yankees, batting in the spot of Garrett Jones. You see what Noonan did last year in the minors. And, of course, the obligatory Noonan from some fans here at Charlotte Sports Park. And I'm sure this is the first time Nick's heard that.
Oh, I mean, wow. The possibilities are endless. Noonan, I mean, you almost have to, right.
Yeah. You can't help it.
Now I can't concentrate.
Fouled off by Nick. One-handed by Foley. Tom used to field those at third base, and now he's still got the sharp hands in the dugout, protecting his manager like the good bench coach should do. Two and two the count to Nick Noonan. Kirby Yates spent the offseason back in the 50th state where he is from. He's a Kauai kid. Said the waves weren't that good this offseason. He was kind of disappointed. Didn't get as much good surfing in as he normally would like.
Well, he certainly went with the look.
Oh, he's got the
locks
surfing
going.
Yeah. He looks totally different than last year, and Nick Noonan goes down looking.
I'd be ticked off, too, if I grew my hair all the way out like that, expecting a nice offseason of ride the waves and then nothing.
Can't predict it.
I would not have guessed that was him.
Really? Yeah, a totally different look than last year.
Completely.
Yeah. That is strikeout number 13, by the way, for this Rays bullpen day. And no, it's not the New York Yankees team that's going to be showing up in the Bronx, but still, 13 strikeouts is 13 strikeouts.
Every time.
And here's Eddie Rodriguez. Rodriguez, a strikeout victim back in the 6th. Nothing in 2. Kirby in competition for that final spot in the Rays bullpen. 0-2 pitch is fouled away. You've got to think that you're looking at locks in Brad Boxberger and Ernesto Frieri and Grant Balfour and Kevin Jepsen for the guys that pitched today. Jeff Beliveau, the lefty, got to expect he's going to be on that opening day roster. Then you go down to the last 2 spots, and Yates would certainly be a strong candidate. There's also that possibility of mixing in a guy there who could be a starter or reliever combination early in the season, as Beckham on 2 hops fumbles the ball but still recovers in time to get the opposing catcher 2 outs.
Boy, almost costly right there, but Tim Beckham able to recover and make the throw to get that second out.
Well, so here's the pretty good names that we've all seen at the big league level.
Yeah, and you're going to get contributions more so from, more than who just makes the opening day roster are going to have to contribute at some point. But how about the spring Brandon Gomes is having right now? I mean, just running up big strikeout numbers, perfect across the board. The Rays have a lot of options. There's Kirby Yates, of course, Geltz, Riefenhauser.
Gomes hasn't given up a run in spring since 2013. He had a perfect spring last year.
Yeah.
when he forced the Rays' hands and made the team. And he's trying to do the same again this year.
13 strikeouts, hasn't walked anybody.
Because last year the big question with Brandon was, well, he has an option.
Right.
And if you have an option, that doesn't play in your favor all the time. But he, as well as he pitched, he forced the Rays to find a spot for him. Rob Refsnyder, the DH, getting his 4th at bat. And there's a sharp base hit to right field. He's going to try and go for 2. Joey Butler digs it out of the corner, and Refsnyder has a double.
Well, you take a look at the replay and you ask yourself, is this a case of Refsnyder going the other way, or that fastball just getting on him a little bit too quickly? Either way you look at it, it's going to be a double for Refsnyder, but you can see right here as that fastball gets on him in a hurry. A little bit tardy on that swing, but well placed.
So Refsnyder continues his good spring for the Yankees. He's a 2-out base runner in a 6-4 game. And Ben Gamel is the hitter for the Yankees. Gamel played in Trenton at the AA level last year in the Yankees organization. Takes a pitch outside. There's a look at Ben from Bishop Kenny High School in Jacksonville. Rays have scored a couple of runs in the 5th, a couple of runs in the 6th, that are run last inning to lead this game 6-4. Tampa Bay trying to win for the 10th time in the last 14 games. Ball in the air. This could be playable, and it will be playable in left field for Eugenio Velez, and that'll do it for the Yankees here in the 8th. So Kirby Yates gets through that inning, and it's still 6-4. Yates keeps it as a 6-4 game in favor of the Rays. He gets a handshake over in the dugout, probably done after 1 inning. How about Kevin Kiermaier's day, B.A.?
Yeah, how about that day? Right here, the hustle double. That should have been nothing more than a drop-in single. But Kevin Kiermaier hustling right out of the box like he always does, always thinking to, and he gets there. And then how about this? Getting the Rays a run by himself. Steals second. Easy with the stolen base into third, and then on a pitch in the dirt, not that far away, was able to race home and get the Rays a run. That's what that effort and speed can do for you, and Kevin showed it off here today.
So we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Kevin Cash looking on as his team leads at 6-4. And the new pitcher for the New York Yankees is a lefty who was brought up to pitch in this game. And that is Tyler Webb, who comes on here in the bottom of the 8th. Tyler Webb taking over in the 6th. We have Noonan in the game, Nick Noonan. And we have Ty Webb, who is Chevy Chase's character. This whole game is a complete ode to Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Nice tie. Ty? Ty Webb takes over. Tyler, I'm sure he prefers. That was his name, right? It was Ty Webb in Caddyshack. Yeah. Well, there we go. And we got Nick Noonan in the game. I mean, what else can you have?
How about some night putting?
We got we need a Carl Spackler in the game. Night putting.
I was going to use that one year as an alias on a road trip.
That would be great.
Already had a teammate that was using it.
Seriously.
It was already taken.
Somebody on your team already had it.
Yes.
You said, I'd like to use this name, and your traveling director of travel said it's already taken.
Already taken.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
Eugenio Velez will lead things off for the Rays here. You see what he did last year at AAA Nashville.
See, if I would have used Eugenio Velez, that would not have been taken.
That was probably available. That was probably available. Judge Smales was probably available. See what Tyler Webb did in the minors last year.
With the strikeout numbers, 94 punch-outs and 68 2/3.
Broken bat to short. And the first out for Ty Webb is, of course, recorded by Noonan. So there's one out. Here's Corey Brown. Brown, a few extra base hits early this spring. Tampa kid, trying to make a name for himself this spring.
And you can see coming over from Pawtucket, new organization. You're trying to impress. You're trying to leave that impression. You never know when that call may come.
Went to Plant High School. Ended up at Oklahoma State, where he was freshman of the year. Has played at the big league level with the Washington Nationals 3 different years, and last year, brief time with the Boston Red Sox. 1-1 to count to Brown. Oh, changeup, it looked like, way out in front, 1-2. Corey Brown tripled his first spring at bat, hit a homer in his third spring at bat, had a double in his third game. He came out of the boxes red hot. Swing and a miss at the fastball. Tyler Webb has come in and retired the first 2 Rays he has faced here in the 8th.
And you can see that those strikeout numbers last year in the minor leagues were no fluke.
Number 10, second baseman.
Boy, tall. I read somewhere that the Yankees, the spring training roster, they have 9 players who are 6'4" or taller. And I believe all but 1 pitchers. We've seen a couple of them today.
Yeah, they have some big boys. Aaron Judge is one of their young outfielders. He's a big dude. Their pitchers, and they're not only just 6'4" and taller, but they all throw 90-plus power arms.
And driving the ball downhill.
Mm-hmm. It's almost, I don't think we've seen one guy today who didn't throw at least 90. Or in the, some guys' cases, mid-90s.
Listen, anymore, if you're below 90, you better be a gimmick pitcher.
Right.
You better be a knuckleball guy or a sidewinder, Darren O'Day.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, throwing 3/4 to over the top. You start at 90 and work up from there.
Right. Lexi Casilla gets his first at bat, down to the count, 0-2. Rays scoring 6 runs, 5 in the last 3 innings. Evan Longoria started things off with a solo home run. Asdrubal Cabrera an RBI double. Brandon Guyer an RBI single. Sac fly by Jake Elmore, in between a home run by Desmond Jennings, and Kiermaier using his speed to get around the bases on 2 steals and a wild pitch. That's how the Rays have their 6 as we play here in the bottom half of the 8th. Checked on a pitch away, it's 2-2.
On the ground to the right side and under the glove of Refsnyder into right field.
Out. You could see that coming. Almost doomed from the start. Refsnyder just not able to ever get his feet set, get comfortable, and he got caught in between hops.
I guess that would be the one area they would like to see shore up. His stick, they're pretty impressed with. He was a former outfielder in college at University of Arizona, and that was not a very good attempt at that ground ball.
No, that's where you got to make that quick decision. Do I have enough time to take a step back and get the higher hop, or do I have to charge it right now and make the play before it gets where it's going to be tough to handle? And just that little bit of hesitation cost him.
He was a right fielder for the Arizona Wildcats when they won the College World Series, and then gets to the professional level, and they thought maybe his game profiles more as an infielder as opposed to a corner outfielder in terms of power. Still trying to make the adjustment. Here's Acosta taking a pitch away. It's 1-1. Mayo Acosta getting it at bat against Tyler Webb. I just realized you had teed me up for a perfect line, and I totally blew it. You're talking about all the Yankees pitchers that were 6'4" and higher?
Right.
Well, how do you think Tyler Webb judges himself against the other pitchers?
By height.
There you go. I mean, you're just sitting there, right?
Oh, boy.
Especially in the bottom of the eighth of a spring training game.
Yes.
Acosta fouls one at the plate.
Well, you know what? Once you go to Noonan, miss it. You've got all that going, and then your mind just starts to wander, and it goes from one scene to the next.
Oh, yeah.
Classic. It's a reason
one of the all-time classics.
Yeah, it stood the test of time.
Little snap throw, and Casilla back on the bag. We talked about Beckham having a chance to be the backup middle infielder. Casilla is a guy, a switch hitter. He offers some versatility, too, and a guy who's played at the big league level. Swing and a miss, and down goes Mayo Acosta, and that will do it for Tampa Bay in the eighth. We head to the ninth inning. The Rays will try and wrap up a 6-4 lead.
6,100, 48 fans at Charlotte Sports Park this afternoon. We mentioned that spring schedule is winding down. You have those 2 Boston games on Saturday and Tuesday, and also the Baltimore game on Monday the 30th. And that's it for the home schedule in terms of spring training. Just 3 more home games here at Charlotte Sports Park after today. Play made in the outfield by Corey Brown, drifting nicely towards the track for the first out here in the ninth. And that'll do it for Kirby Yates. So we will see Jean Marinez for the final couple of batters of this game. An inning and a third for Kirby. Picks up a strikeout, allows a double, and no runs. So Jean Marinez comes on, right-hander, 25 years of age. We'll tell you more about him when we come back. Kevin Cash, Tom Foley looking on in the top half of the ninth inning of a 6-4 game. Don't forget, coming up on Monday, April 6th, it is opening day against the Baltimore Orioles. We will have a 90-minute pregame show for you, the longest pregame show we've ever done leading into an opening day. The Rays will retire the number of their longtime special advisor, Don Zimmer, who passed away last year in early June. And we'll get you ready for the opener with the Baltimore Orioles on April 6th. Here is Jean Marinez, who split time last year between the Tigers and the Dodgers organizations and put up those numbers. He's pitched for the Florida Marlins 4 games in his career, a couple of games with the White Sox as well in 2012. So he will try and save this game for the Rays and move their spring record to 11-9-1 with a victory. Cole Figueroa gets his final at bat of the day. He's 0 for 3.
Well, you just promoed teasing opening day.
Yeah.
Let's go from opening day to the final day of the season. And what is your opinion on the decision by Major League Baseball to start all of the games on the final day of the season at the same time?
One of the best things they've ever done.
Right?
Awesome.
It is. That's going to make for, well, I mean, it's on so many levels. It's a great thing, and I can't believe it's taken them this long to do it.
If you go back to the incredible 162 that the Rays were a part of, one of the reasons it was so incredible is they were literally one pitch away from in the Red Sox game, as well as one pitch away from their own game of being eliminated from the season. The Red Sox were one pitch away from winning their game, and the Rays with Dan Johnson were one pitch away from losing their game.
Yeah.
And those games had their season was almost over, and less than an hour later, you're in the postseason.
And minutes apart.
Unbelievable.
Minutes apart with a rain delay, extra innings.
Yeah, all games, and if fans are hearing this for the first time, will be played at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So the teams that are on the West Coast will start at noon. The teams in the Central Time Zone will start at 2. And obviously the teams on the East Coast will start at 3 o'clock, including the Rays when they wrap up their season with the Toronto Blue Jays. So that'll be something, if there are games 162 that matter, there are no advantages. And as Cole Figueroa takes second after his base hit. And that's really what baseball wanted. That, not only do you have the excitement of games going on simultaneously, but now there's no advantage if a team plays on the West Coast and another team loses earlier, and now they don't have to win their game.
And so you can save your pitcher.
Right.
Now if that may be a must-win, well, he's got to go.
Yeah, that'll be very cool. That is one of the better things Major League Baseball has decided upon in the last number of decades. The Rays will end their season with the Toronto Blue Jays. There's a ball ripped for a base hit. That's Jake Cave, 21-year-old, with an RBI single to make this a one-run game. Cole Figueroa scores, and it's now 6-5.
Well, the youngster Jay Cave got a fastball that he could handle. Right there, middle in. And he just drops the hands, not much of a stride, but quick hands through the zone and shot that ball out into right field. The Yankees within one.
Jonathan Galvez is the hitter. Breaking ball for a called strike from Jean Marinez. The Rays' schedule is a bit unusual in that they play the second series of the season against the Miami Marlins in Miami, and then the second to last series of the season against the Marlins. There's a nice throw by Acosta, and they get the runner trying to steal. Mayo Acosta with a big throw out at second base for the second out of the inning.
And a nice snap tag there by Tim Beckham. That ball into the glove, and he got that tag down onto the hand of Cave right now.
Yes.
Well played all around.
So the tying run is wiped off the base, and now the Rays are a couple of strikes away from putting this one in the books. Galvez takes a pitch outside. It's 3-1. If he does reach base, we mentioned earlier that the nephew of Paul O'Neill, Michael O'Neill, is on this travel roster. He would get a chance to hit as he is on deck with 2 outs here in the ninth. Instead, it's popped high in the air on the infield. Juan Francisco could put this game away, but Beckham takes it instead. Francisco was calling, the ball drifted all the way over to the shortstop Beckham, and he put it away for the final out on a wind-blown pop-up to end this game. It ends in exactly 3 hours as Jean Marinez picks up the final couple of outs out of the bullpen. How about this way to end the game, B.A.?
Well, you talked about the wind early on. Looked like Juan Francisco was going to be camped underneath it. Not so much.
Good thing he peeled off and didn't stay after that ball.
Tim Beckham still be laying out there.
Beckham with a triple, a run scored, and he catches a pop-up that he never called for until it drifted to him at the very last second. Well, that'll do it for Emily Austin making her debut with us on Sun Sports. And my broadcast partner, Brian Anderson, I'm Todd Callis. Thanks for watching Rays baseball. We're with you again Saturday. Dwayne Stats and Orestes Estrada will be your crew that day. For the rest of the guys in the truck, thanks for watching Rays win it 6-5. Have a great rest of your Thursday night, everyone.